do that, shall we? Good evening, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the now annual crimbo tradition of criminal tradition of Armbar Arcade does Christmas themed Q&A and stuff. That's a technical term for it.
It is.
We'll just cut the music off rather sharply, but never mind. We are good. How's the mic volume? Is that okay? Yes, I think we're okay. We all, music is overpowering the voices. Well, it's a good thing I've just turned the music off then.
Haha.
Fuck music. I can barely hear you. Okay. Just wondering about the, oh, it's on the other screen. Just wondering why the microphone's so quiet. It's still playing.
Maybe the OlliOlli music is playing.
Oh, wow. Are we barely louder than the game?
Turn us up.
Well, I'm trying. That's just the upper limit.
Could be better.
Yeah. Hang on. Right, hang on. Just switch screens here. Grab the Need for Speed Pro streamers. Yeah, that's us.
We'll try that.
Whoa!
That
that's
might
a bit
distort
much.
a little bit. What about that?
Is that a bit better?
Maybe turn the game audio down.
Yeah. How's that? Is that better? We feeling that? We feeling that?
It's quite a loud game. I recall the soundtrack being chill but loud.
Ah, okay. Maybe because I've been used to some games where the music's not. I remember when we did EA Sports MMA, the soundtrack was actually quite loud for that.
Yeah, it was.
The in-game audio was quite loud for that. Is that better?
Aye.
Hey, that works.
Aye.
We got an eye from the Northerner. There we go. Right, we're good to go. Thank you for being our sound check crew, Chatto. That's the real reason we do streams. Right, this is our Christmas stream. We do a Christmas Q&A. Well, last year it wasn't a stream, it was just a video we did. And we decided to play a game, have a chat, have a little Q&A session with you guys, look back over the year that was. We're coming to the end of the second year of Armbar Arcade.
Wow.
Feels kind of weird. It's in a good way though.
Feels kind of good.
Yeah, it does. It does. We started going a lot more full-time on Twitch this year, and it's been really working out very well, I've got to say.
Yeah.
In that we went Twitch affiliated within like 2 weeks or so. No, not 2 weeks. 2 months or so. And our videos have been getting better and better. So it's been really good fun. I have a pint of Bishop's Finger. Let's kick off the stream tonight.
I've
And
got a massive Desperados.
massive fuck off bottle of Desperados there. There we go. Well, that's good. It's good stuff. Excuse me. So, I have my Christmas hat. We've got a Christmas tree in the background. Where is it? There we go. Christmas tree in the background and some Christmas lights. And what we're doing tonight, this is categorized as just chatting because it is an AMA, but we thought, why not just put a game up in the background? And we decided to play one of my favourite games we played this year.
Yeah.
Nay's birthday present for me this year. OlliOlli 2, one of his favourite games in recent years as well.
It's great.
And we were also at the loading bar in Stratford last night, and we played a bit of this game on one of the setups there, except the controllers were buggered, so it just gave us the urge to actually play the game properly.
I've forgotten how to play it again.
Although maybe this is where Nay proves that actually it wasn't the controller after all.
There we go. Okay, yeah. I've got it, don't worry.
Okay, I believe you. Have you got the questions?
I have. Give me a moment.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. I'll read a question.
Right, okay. Oh, I've completely forgotten all the questions as well.
So, well, the first one was from Black and Mild on Discord.
Okay.
It's directed specifically to you.
Oh, is it?
Which is,
no.
AJ, being the most British person I've ever known, you can't have known that many British people then. Why do you not wear a bowler hat and a monocle? It's a fun question to start.
I have wanted a top hat for a while. Monocle is because both my eyes need glasses, so that's the reason for that. But I would totally wear a top hat.
It's a bowler hat.
Bowler hat. Well, mostly the same thing. Beep. And boop. And boop. And oops. Oh. Doop. There we go. Doops.
So the next question is from James Carmody. This was on Twitter.
Yes, one of the OGs. Whoops.
Which was, why have you just crashed?
Which is why are you so shit at this game?
The question was, what is the most insane thing you have ever seen someone do?
Seen someone do?
Do.
Ha. just in general.
Yeah, apparently so.
Just like in everyday life.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Oh, gold. That.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy. It may not be the one that's coming to mind first. Is just a memory I have of hanging out outside the cab office at 3 in the morning after going to Zen's, which is the local nightclub here in Dartford. It's not actually been called Zen's for like 20 years or so. It was called Armbar for a while, and now it's called something else, Clungenomics or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Clungenomics.
Clungenomics, yeah, but everyone just knows it as Zen's. Some people of a certain generation actually know it's Flicks. That's how old school that is. Oh, no, it's all going sloppy at the end there. The Clungenomics are falling apart here.
It's gone floppy.
Yeah, but I remember I used to have times where I'd go out there, because even though it was a dumpster of a nightclub, it was our dumpster, damn it, and if you wanted to continue drinking after a certain midnight in Dartford, that's kind of where you had to go. So, unless you wanted to go to the Clipper and potentially get stabbed in there, which is great.
Oh dear.
Yeah, literally, there was one time where I was out in the Clipper, for a night out in the Clipper, and the next day I read a headline that apparently an hour after I was in there, someone got stabbed in the middle of the dance floor.
Is that a pub, the Clipper?
Yeah, it's like it's like a pub with like a dance floor club sort of section.
It sounds like a lighter.
It does, doesn't it? But outside, after a night in Zen's, when they kicked out, it was like, curfew was like 3 a.m. or something. I remember waiting outside the cab office and my friend just like sat on the pavement and saw an absolute heavyweight slugfest between two fairly big lads. They'd have weighed in probably at heavyweight, super heavyweight.
Big lads fighting. Big
lads fighting, yeah. But they were so drunk, they like just went for haymakers, and just one guy, it was so funny, he literally went for a Superman punch, just fell over forwards and like bounced up off his belly. He sort of bounced forward and almost did like a forward roll off his belly. It was unbelievably funny. That may have not been the most insane thing I've seen live per se, but that's one of them. That's the one I can remember. What about you?
Well, for me, it's fairly recent. I went on a Christmas night out with my my company. I mean, I'm self-employed, but we all work together on a site, so you know we have a sort of company night out.
Yeah.
And my boss got so drunk that he ended up trying to enter a skip instead of his house. He was trying to get in a skip to go to bed because...
He's trying to get in a skip?
It was just the closest thing. It was in his front garden. He's got a skip, and he was like, you know what? Going in my door and getting in bed is just so overrated. I'm going to get in this skip instead. And I was like, good on you, mate. Good on you. Like, you know, if you want to get in your skip, it's your skip. Fair enough. Put a mattress in there. Yeah, you do you.
I love it. That is pretty good, actually.
So we got a couple of questions from Nick in... Well, we got a question from Nick in chat is, how are we all? We're good. Thank you.
Hey, we're doing well. Had a good day of recording. And
question for you from Andy...
230788. I suspect I know who that Andy is.
He asks, who is the current lineal Premier League champion?
Well, it was Chelsea, but after today's revolting
display.
After today's revolting display.
Did you see that revolting display last night?
Well, after today, it is now Leicester City. Or as the Americans say it, Leicester. Because they can't speak English. Lucky Alessi's not in the chat right now.
No.
No, my landings are just shite.
So LP asks, why aren't we watching the darts?
I don't have Sky Sports.
I do have Sky Sports, but I've been out so much in the past few days doing Christmas parties and partying and normal...
And more parties.
More partying. My life is a drug binge, apparently.
Just on crack all the time.
Yeah. But I do want to watch... Oops. Basically, I think once you get past the first round, because the first round is always like, this man from Indonesia who has an average of 46 versus...
Raymond van Barneveld.
Someone we just let in the door and had to fill in for like a late entrant who dropped out. And it's like, I don't want to watch that. But I do want to watch, you know, like Robbie Cross and Raymond van Barneveld. Well, he's out of it, actually. I do keep up with it. You can see I've kept up with it a little bit, but I will be watching the darts. One thing I won't be watching is the BDO World Championship. That is utter shite.
That's the one that's on BBC, isn't it?
That's the one that's on BBC. And
I quite like that one in a way because it's kind of charmingly not high quality at all.
Yeah, you sort of go, I reckon I could beat him.
Exactly.
I think I could take him in a fight.
Yeah, I have heard from our friends over at the Motorsport 101 podcast in their Discord, Dre and all the guys over there have been going mad for the darts over there. So I've heard that the brackets are just absolutely... Everyone's brackets are just on fire at the moment. And not in a good way at all. I think Dan Cousin is here. Evening.
Yes, hello.
Cam Buckley. Geez, things must be really bad over there for a full-scale revolt. P Flying IP, not our fault you gave us the shitty end of your language. Well, you should have
we?
accepted then. You should have demanded better.
Yeah.
I prefer snooker to darts. Yes, Nick, I'm not going to lie, I do like some snooker. Wow, the BBC aren't even showing the BDO tournament anymore. Who is showing the BDO now? That's bollocks.
Oh dear. So we've got a question from the Rainmeister 1.
Oh yeah, Vikesh.
Which is, do you think you guys would have met had you not found each other on YouTube? Well,
fun story. We did meet in spite of YouTube.
We've got an origin story for you.
Yes, do you want to tell it?
I'm playing OlliOlli.
Okay, so you want me to tell it?
Yeah.
Right. Oh wow, Channel 4 is now showing the BDOs.
Poor Channel 4.
The BDO. It's not mutually beneficial for either party.
Not, is it?
It's really not. Oh, look at this landing god over here.
Cheers.
And then I just can't wait for the inevitable last shit landing where you just get like 12 points.
No, it's not happening.
Oh, can we just appreciate? Oh, it happened.
It happened. It did happen.
It definitely happened.
Yeah. Tell the origin story, man.
Okie doke. So, would have been back in I think 2011 or so. I used to go to a lot of underground punk shows around like London and Kent and that. I used to write like a little blog stroke fanzine about it all, which is pretty cool. And I either got to know from a gig or he reached out to me. A guy called Jack Lewis invited me to this gig at the Boston Arms where his band Code Blue were playing. They were like a sort of hardcore street punk band. Nice concussion there.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, we're playing at the Boston Arms, which is weird given that years later I'd end up going to the venue right next door, the Dome. Not that one, for wrestling shows. Funny how things work out. But I ended up going to this random gig, only really knowing Jack, and there was two other guys in his band. There was a bass player who I can't remember the name of.
Tom.
Tom, that's it. There you go, bass player Tom, and a guitar player who was some twazit,
yeah.
some bellin. And yeah, that was the night I met Nay. And after that, it was kind of, oh yeah, you're the guitarist.
It was a fiery death, wasn't it?
It was a fiery death. It was a fiery descent into hell after that.
There we go. Dan's referencing some Code Blue songs because, of course, he is. You like it.
I don't know, fucking car. The sort of band where all the vocals are like, oh god, there was no time, fucking cops.
We had a song about not having a car, despite the fact that I had a car at the time. We wrote a song about the difficulties of travelling without a car.
Potentially very serious question from LP here. Obviously, article, I want to say 22. I assume you mean 13.
13.
Is fucking everyone on YouTube. But does it affect your presence on Twitch? Well, Twitch is starting to panic about it as well. So it kind of fucks everybody and everything. But we'll see. This is the internet. It's one of those things where if you try and regulate it using well done.
Cheers.
Well done. It's one of those things where if you try and regulate it using out-of-date means of like banning stuff and everything, then it kind of doesn't work. Like, piracy for years is one of those things where like, we're going to ban this, we're going to prosecute that, we're going to do that. It's like, now the pirate bay's still here. So it might end up being one of those things. I know a lot of companies like YouTube and Twitch and Amazon and that are all lobbying to be like, no, this is a fucking stupid idea. As far as I can tell, the only people in favour of Article 13, and this doesn't surprise me at all, are people involved with music publishing companies. Crusty old farts who can't stand the fact that someone might have listened to a 1973 album for free on YouTube once and want everything now to be banned because they think the internet works like thieving a corner shop. You know what I mean? Like, it's the exact same people that would have cried about you taping songs off the radio back in the day, how that was like the worst thing ever. So it's those sort of plebs that are trying to force this thing through. But there's a lot of companies lobbying against it. We'll see how the final vote goes down. It's one of those things, like, it's going to fuck everything up. It's
just a question of how badly.
Of how badly and how the internet deals with it. Knowing the internet, they'll find ways around it, and it'll be a pointless bit of legislation anyway. So we'll see how we go.
I mean,
with
it's
that.
sort of like Tumblr, like banning all adult content. Like, fair enough, but that's basically what your site was thriving on because no one's going on there really, except for fandom stuff.
Yeah.
It was mainly adult content. And now they're like, well, we can get all the advertisers in the world. It's like all your users have left, so that's fucking pointless, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So, this is weird walking around at work listening to you guys. Well, hi. Hello, Dan's colleagues. Fuck Article 13. Yes.
I fucked that right up.
What, you fucked Article 13 right up?
My run on OlliOlli.
Oh. I wish it was Article 13 fucked up.
I wish
Oh my god, is this the level from the original Let's Play video where I was like, don't you condescend to me, I'm going to ace this.
It might well have been.
Wow. What question are we doing next?
Well, I'm going to go with a question from Ryan Bowles on Facebook.
Okie doke.
Which was, are you still continuing the Bad Game Beatdown series? Really
Absolutely.
Enjoying the series. And yet, that's never going away.
No. Spoiler alert, we're really enjoying the series too. It's by far and away our most popular series on the channel as well.
Yeah.
I cannot do landings tonight.
People enjoy watching us suffer.
Yes. Yeah, that's a way of putting it. But yeah, it ain't going away at all. We love the series. It's easily the most popular. And it's actually kind of fun going through all these bollocks games and actually discovering what is really... It's like one of those things where people are like, oh, well, Fallout 76 is the worst game of all time. No.
Yeah.
Step this way and let us show you what real shit looks like.
Like, we're trying to find the worst sins ever committed in video games. Really,
Yeah.
The series.
Oh, and Andy, by the way, look up just Google Article 13. There's a ton of shit. It's basically demanding that all online content hosting sites have a sort of automated service to check for copyright things, which could include films, music, everything up to including memes, which is why people are saying it's the war on memes or whatever, but we don't fucking know. It's a bollocks, poorly worded piece of shit legislation written by old people who have no concept of how the internet works.
I mean, if you watch the trials where they were all asking Mark Zuckerberg questions about what Facebook could and couldn't do, you'll understand how little actual representatives understand about technology.
Exactly, yeah. And that was that EU representatives or
No,
American?
that was American. It was the Senate.
American.
And they were
Yeah.
all going like, well, does Facebook know where I am now? If I move in this room, does Facebook know? He's like, well, have you enabled GPS? And he's like, no, answer the question, yes or no? And he's like, well, I can't tell you, mate.
Yeah. You really don't understand how this works, do you? So, yeah, those people are deciding legislation. Great.
Yeah, it's funny because they're deciding all legislation. It's not just tech legislation, like anything to do with anything in America, they're deciding. We've got the House of Lords and the House of Commons, which ain't much better, to be honest. It's full of... I mean,
Bollocks.
like, yeah, let's not get too into politics, but, you know, we're not the biggest fans of that sort of thing.
No.
So I've got a few questions for you from...
That was a visual metaphor for discussion about politics.
Got a few questions from Dan.
Okay.
Since he's listening and he's in the chat, I think it's only fair to answer his questions.
Yep.
So you got to pick a scenario here.
Okay.
We get to play our favourite game every Monday to Friday, but we have to play Kane and Lynch 2 every weekend, or
Right. Oh my god, I can't even get past this first jump.
play the most average game you've ever played Monday to Friday, but we have to play the most boring game we've played every weekend. So it's either best and worst or interesting and boring.
Best and worst.
I think I'd go with Kane and
I can
Lynch on the
tolerate.
weekends.
Oh my god, I literally can't do landings tonight. What's going on?
Because I think it might be like albums when you
Oh,
listen
you have to press X to land, don't you?
Yeah.
I've completely forgotten.
Sometimes when you listen to albums enough, they become a little bit better. You get to know them a bit better. So I think maybe Kane and Lynch might become the slightest bit more tolerable.
Well,
And
at
I
least
still,
know the shit we're dealing with.
And I still get to play Yakuza on the weekdays, so
Yeah.
it's win-win. Whereas if I'm playing boring games on the weekend, and
And then average games are just the worst,
yeah,
really.
the thing is, like, the Bad Games Beatdown is fun because we get to play shitty games. We're like, haha, this is terrible, and then we can also play really good games. So we kind of miss out the mediocre shit. I think there's a lot of mediocre shit that we just like miss me with that. So
Don't step to me with that shit.
yeah, if we had to play all the mediocre shit, I think it would be worse.
Yeah, absolutely. I still can't make it past this first jump. I've learned how to land and then still fall in the water after. And, oh yeah, and, oh. I made it one jump further.
So another question from Dan.
Yep.
Best decade for sports games. So,
I'm tempted to say the early 2000s, but you go first.
well, he put 80s, 90s, 2000s, 10s.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to discount the 70s. The Atari 2600 is the only option from the 70s. And let's be real, you can't even see what the fuck's going on in those sports games. So we're not going to have that. 80s, I think, is still too early. Obviously, some early Mega Drive games. FIFA 95 is obviously from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's got 95 in its name. But I think you're right. The early 2000s had some innovation because we moved to 3D in that time period. And to be fair, if you pick up FIFA 2009, it's not dissimilar to FIFA 19. Like, it's obviously
And I'd still say,
different,
like, Pro
right?
Evo 6 is probably the most fun pick-up-and-play football game of all time.
I mean, I like Pro Evo 4, but it's similar to 6. It's just little differences that we're sort
and
of...
both of them from that decade.
Yeah.
You've also got a ton of really good racing games from that time. You've got all the licensed F1 games. that were generally really good. EA had a good run with the NASCAR games around that time. You had stuff like Toca Race Driver on the PS2, the touring car games, and the grid games, the early grid games on PS3. Colin McRae Rally and all that stuff. So there were more sports games over there. You even had interesting stuff like NBA Jam and
Let's say I think the sports games
FIFA Street and
from
stuff.
the 2000s are more diverse because you've got SSX, you've got
Yep.
extreme sports games, you've got some kind of weird ones that you wouldn't pick. I think we had handball got a game in the 2000s.
Truck racing.
And I think it's only got more safe with the advent of everything has to be AAA. It's sort of like, we can't go out there and do a weird game because people might not buy it. Whereas in the 2000s, everyone was like, yeah, fuck yeah, we'll do that.
Yep. Well, except that.
I'm trying to get all the markers.
Ah, okay. Yeah, there was all sorts of cool stuff in those times. Like wrestling games as well. They were at their peak around that time. And, indeed. And, I haven't really played much of the MMA games from around that time.
No, but to be fair, there were some.
Yes.
Obviously now you've basically got EA Sports UFC or fuck yourself. That's your choice. And really, I'd probably fuck myself, if I'm honest. At the moment.
It's such a shame UFC Undisputed 3 came out in 2011. Just missed out on that decade.
Yeah,
But,
it is, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, 2000's best decade for sports games, I'd say.
I would get another question, but I'm doing a sick
Yeah, I mean,
combo.
you're kind of busy. I appreciate that. I'll just sit with you.
If you've got any questions in the chat, we can read them from here. So.
Good way. Good thinking. Meanwhile, I will just marvel at Nace.
I keep trying to get that high rail. Will we play Snooker 19 if/when it's out? I've drowned reading that, but trophy earned. Damn good coffee. I've earned you a trophy.
Yay. I didn't even know it was a game.
So snooker games that I've played include Jimmy White's Cue Ball 2. That's
Is that
it.
on Mega Drive?
That was on the Dreamcast. There was a Mega Drive version. I think that was Jimmy White's Cue Ball, but it had snooker in it. It had 2 rooms, so it had English, which was snooker, darts, and I think drafts.
Right.
And then in the other room, it had pool, a one-arm bandit machine, and drop zone, which is the American side of stuff. But I enjoyed it. I just find it quite hard to play snooker games. I think I kind of struggle with lining up the shots perfectly, and I'm more of an action-oriented gamer than I am snooker. I feel like snooker is a little bit slow for my tastes. But what do you feel with snooker games?
I like snooker the sport. Haven't played any snooker games though.
Have you not?
No. I feel like it's the sort of game that's hard to simulate in a games context.
You're right, actually. I feel like that might be part of my problem with it. I'm like, yeah, it's snooker, and now I've got to sit down and beat this bloke.
It's like pinball games. I kind of feel the same way. I'd rather just play a real pinball machine.
We got some lineal championship news from.
P-Fly Guy P. Now, if you guys don't know, I had the very nerdy idea the other day to come up with the idea of the English Premier League lineal champion. Now, I don't normally follow the English Premier League. My favourite club, AFC Wimbledon, are in the 3rd tier of English football, 2 divisions down from that. Potentially 4 divisions by the end of the season, but they won today.
They're going to get relegated 2 divisions. Oh no, you said 3rd, never mind. I was thinking of Division 2. I was like, how are they going to get... I forgot the Premier League was a thing.
Yeah.
We all like to at some point.
But I came up with the idea of the lineal champion in the Premier League, which as in, like, literally there's a title belt that's defended in every single game. And so you beat the team that holds it, you now become the title holder, and whoever holds it at the end of the season wins. Problem is how you chart it from season to season. At the moment, I just went that the reigning league champion was awarded the lineal championship at the start of the season, and then see where it goes from there. Last season, it changed hands a ridiculous amount of times. Most of the teams didn't even defend it for 1 game. Like, they just lose it in their first defence, and I worked out that Crystal Palace won it on the final day of the season. So far this season, Man City went in as the reigning league champions, so they were the lineal champs. Chelsea beat them, and then today Leicester City beat them. Yeah, I heard about Palace beating Man City today. That was crazy. That makes half my family happy. Half of my family are huge Palace fans.
Dan's a Palace fan.
Ah, there you go. So Palace fans are happy tonight. And P-Fly Guy has decided to take on the mammoth task of charting the lineal championship in one lineal run from the start of the Premier League era in 1992-93.
The lineal championship,
Yes.
if you will.
So he's up to the 12th of November or the 11th of December 1993, and the lineal championship has changed hands 7 times. It's currently West Ham, who had it already for the month of October and have it back. Okay, 11th of December 93. There you go. He clarified it. Jason Poland's back. Glasgow Rangers for Nick. You a Rangers fan? Out of nowhere. Have I missed any of my questions? Did we answer any of Jason's questions? No, we haven't answered his. No, we're good. Crawling along.
Yes,
Oh,
there we go. It's the perfect landings. They speed you up. You have to just get perfect landings, otherwise you can fuck it up. But we're good. We're good. It's the little green grind markers. Just. I know you know.
Yep. Well, I've forgotten. Oh. 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 Oh.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. 1,963,000.
And I did 4 of the objectives.
Jesus Christ. All in one go. Get some more questions while I fail spectacularly.
Okie dokie, right. Let's see if we got Jason's other question, because we should do. I did have them all collated, and then people started asking questions at a ridiculous rate, and I was like, ah!
Yeah, we went from not enough questions to too many.
Jason's other question was, have you played Pokemon? And if yes, which Pokemon is your favourite?
Well, I do remember playing Pokemon Red back on the Game Boy.
Back in the day?
Yes, the OG. And I still download it and like emulate it to this day. I think that's the way you can play it with your phone.
Welcome. I'm just saying hello to James, who has joined us.
Oh, James Carmody's here! Yes!
Hey. Yeah. We answered your question, but we'll do a summary. What was James's question?
I don't know.
In fact, I think he had more questions than I wrote down. We'll talk about the Pokemon games first. Yeah. So I played Pokemon Blue, not back in the day, but like a little bit after back in the day.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. I think I hadn't really processed that it was an RPG yet, and I hadn't really played any proper RPGs yet. So I was sort of like, wow, what is this new format of gaming? In terms of favourite Pokemon, I mean, I've played games since. I got Pokemon Moon, I think. I've played some of them.
Yep.
Silver, Gold, I think Fire Red as well. I like Coughing and Kadabra. I think they're my two like Brokemon.
Bro, oh, very good. Yeah, I played a lot of Pokemon Red back on the Game Boy, and oh, nice. P-Fly guys worked out that West Ham, the 1993-94 lineal Premier League champions.
Well, congratulations,
well done, West Ham, for the championship you won 20 odd years ago. That doesn't exist, but. Yeah, I remember playing it back in the day. Funnily enough, my favourite Pokemon all came from the card game that I never paid for a single card, and yet I ended up getting a really good deck together.
Do you know what? We are similar, because I too, I had a friend who had like all of his spares.
Yep.
And he'd just give me the spares, so I had no shinies, but I had a deck.
Oh mate, my cousins just collected loads of them and were giving me their extras, their spares. They were giving me shinies, just like. Yeah, we've already got a shiny Mewtwo.
I want to see your cousin's collection, you know.
Oh my god, I hope they've still got it. I hope they've still got them somewhere in a loft or something. I also can't do this. Yeah, there we go. We're through.
So let's.
Yeah.
I tell you what, let's go off on a tangent, because.
Yeah.
Do you know the thing about things that might be of value that are in your house?
Yeah.
You sometimes see these articles that are really badly written on like Cracked or whatever, and they're like 12 things in your house you didn't know were worth money.
Yeah.
Often there'll be shiny Charizard on there, and they'll be like, yeah, shiny Charizard sold for $15,000 in mint condition the other day, and it's like.
It just doesn't, does it?
No, it's bollocks. It's worth about 20 quid, 40 if
Apparently
you're lucky.
Pokemon cards, and am I about to complete the level? Yeah! Yes! I completed a level! And I did a combo!
Well done.
Be proud of me, Senpai!
Yes!
Yeah!
But yeah,
Take it.
Basically, I saw one that was the most bullshit. They were like, this SNES gamers have been known to pay upwards of $600 for Super Mario RPG or Chrono Trigger. And I went on eBay, and I found boxed mint copies of both.
So you literally read the article and just opened a new tab next to it and went on eBay.
And for both, you would have to pay £359 to pick up both. So in excess of $600 each. And I found them complete for 350 quid or so.
Right, that's not taken into account. Even with the exchange rate, I don't think that's anywhere near.
It's not. It's about $450. And I was like, do you do any research for your articles? Like, if I can just debunk your article in one go, like, come on.
That's what's so frustrating, especially for me as a freelance writer and journalist. You see the people that just keep getting gigs, and you see it's like, it's nice in a way, because it's like, well, if they can fucking get a living, then surely I've got to be able to do it. But yeah, on the apparently like Pokemon cards and what are they called? The Beanie Babies?
Yeah,
but apparently Beanie Babies.
It's always about Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies are just not they have no value now. Apparently, it's one of those things where they were just produced there were so many of them produced, they're just not going to have value.
I think there's like one or two where it's like if you've got this ultra super duper rare one, it might be worth like 40 quid or something.
The one of the rare games I do have, and I'm quite proud of it. I picked it up before it started to go up in value. Was Team Buddies on the PS1. We've actually played it before. My copy's not even perfect, but it was going rare. And I've also got NASCAR Racing 2003 season on disc. That's very rare as well because the publisher shut down soon after that game came out, so it basically became abandonware very quickly. You can now download a lot of the files to get it working now because it's basically abandonware, but to actually have a disc copy of it is very rare. So I got it for about 25 quid on eBay, but most of the time the minimum you get it for were like 80 quid, and this was like 10 years ago, I think. So those are my rare games.
It's a good topic actually, rarest games that we own.
Yeah.
I've just fallen off a board for 2.2 million points. Anyway,
I'm aware I never actually answered what my favourite Pokemon are. You can help me answer. You can help me answer that. Can you grab the little guy next to the penguin over there? You may have seen one of my favourite Pokemon before because I have a pet version. It's also Rhino GT4's favourite Pokemon. Growlithe! There he is. This is my Growlithe. He's called Jeff.
to be fair,
No, Jeff, don't lick the camera. There we go.
To be fair, Arcanine was for a long time my favourite. Thanks, Jeff. Was my favourite Pokemon because I had a card of Arcanine. He was like my best card.
Yes.
100 HP Arcanine. I was like, yeah, he's got 100 HP. But
that's probably why my other favourite was Mewtwo, because one of my two shinies was a shiny Mewtwo, and I was like, you're fucked.
I think there's also a story behind Kadabra being my favourite from the games because
really?
I'd play it and you catch an Abra, fair enough, pretty easy.
Yep.
You level it up, and then to level up Kadabra into Alakazam, you have to trade it with a friend. I don't have any friends with Pokemon, so I guess that was my favourite Pokemon because I couldn't get any further into his evolution tree.
Okay. Whoop.
So we've got a question from James, which is, are we going to see any more sports games on the channel in 2019?
Yes.
Yes, yeah we are.
Simple answer to that one. Next.
There will be more sports games. Yes,
what
there will.
What sports they are, all sorts. I mean, wrestling games, MMA games.
I reckon there'll be some more NFL, if I'm honest.
Yes. Yeah. We've enjoyed the NFL games we played so far, and that challenge belt defense where we played NFL, what was it, 15?
Yeah, Madden.
Yeah, that was one of the best. I've completed another level, fuck
You're doing
me.
pretty well.
You're good.
Nice.
Rhino Steve the Arcanine, yes! I remember watching his Pokemon Red, Blue, I can't remember which one it was, his complete series of it. But yeah, what was the question? Yeah, sports games. Yeah, plenty of them. I want to play some more rugby games. I'm kind of going through, as rugby's like my pet sport in the same way cricket is his pet sport.
I've just seen something James has posted and I'm very jealous.
What is it?
He's found Ridge Racer 6 for €6.
Oh, dear.
Not only have I never seen Ridge Racer 6 in the flesh.
Was it like Japan only or something?
No, it was Xbox 360 only, but it's for some reason it's just rare as fuck. I've never seen it.
It's just one of those games you don't see.
I go to game stores at every opportunity and I've never seen it. Like, I've seen copies of things that are rarer than it, but no. So, thanks, James.
Also, James also has the collector's edition of Need for Speed Carbon on the 360. I did have the collector's edition of it at one point.
Yeah, I mean, Carbon on the 360 in general, I think Most Wanted on the 360 is about 15 quid. They're getting a little bit rare.
Yeah.
360 versions. I think Nick's tried to ask a question, but I don't know whether it's a run-on question. It's just like, simulation games? Yes. Yes,
Discuss.
Are you saying, will we be playing more simulation games on
Basically,
the
he's
channel?
asking, will we play Train and Bus Simulator? Yes. Yeah, we will. I want to play Euro Truck Simulator really badly.
I was going to say, because I've got Euro Truck Simulator for the PC.
Yes.
And I used to just chill out at night by playing a little route through Europe. And I'd be like, yeah, cool.
That's what I do with Train Simulator. Sometimes I'll just sit down with like a cup of tea. And that's why I like doing the Sunday streams with Train Simulator. They're so nice. Just so peaceful.
Which I think is the idea. You're just supposed to like chill out with them.
Yeah, and there's a few I've got on Steam that I want to look up. I might post my Steam wishlist on Twitter just to see if anyone's... Because there's the Steam sale going on, so some of them are like £2. But there's some like Transport Tycoon-y sort of games. And what else was there? Like... you know, I think there's like mechanic simulators and stuff like that. There's a very interesting one coming out next year called Drift 19, which looks like it's going to be a dedicated drift racing simulator game. Really looking forward to that, given my nickname in the Armbar Arcade Discord is now literally Drift King. After the one good thing to come out of the Pro Street shenanigans. Nice!
Yeah.
No, this is disgusting. You think it gets kicked off Twitch at this rate? What's going on? But Jason said there was another question earlier on Discord. Remember that one?
Was it the one about helping us out?
There might have been.
With happy
Hunter
endings.
and Kadabra are my favourite 2 evolution Pokemon because of the trade factor, says Dan.
Quarter.
Nice. Dan's got a good one. Would you do a series of video games starring famous people? For example, the Apocalypse game starring Bruce Willis.
I think Dan just wants us to play Apocalypse because it's his favourite game ever. But
So it's like, would you ever consider playing certain games?
Which
for
include-
example,
yeah.
including this one.
I mean, yes. Well, I'm going to try and get Apocalypse on the channel for 2019. I mean, if you say it's good, I'll give it a go. We do it as a plays.
I swear I remember playing a demo of it around my cousin's house when I was really young. And then never touching it again. It was one of those games. So,
It might be good. Who knows? I mean, to be fair, I quite like this Die Hard trilogy on the...
that's a first-person shooter, isn't it?
It's 3 games. So there's a first-person shooter, a third-person shooter, and like a driving game on the first
Okay.
one. And then the other one's like a light gun game and a first-person shooter and a driving game.
Interesting.
So there's 6 Die Hard games. All of them, they spent a third of the development time they should on them. And it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah. Ambitious idea, but ultimately rubbish. James also mentioned the NFL Street trilogy on PS2 are brilliant.
Yeah, we want to pick those up actually. If I see them, I'm going to buy them. So that's...
Yeah. Conversely, NFL Tour on PS3 is a beatdown candidate, apparently.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, leave some beatdown candidates and we'll tell you if we've played them or what we think of them.
Yeah. Nick also mentioned my local CEX has a silver Game Boy Micro. Do I buy it?
Yes, you've wanted a Game Boy Micro for ages. Fucking buy
just
it.
do
Nick.
it.
Just do
If
it.
you want to buy something, get it.
Yeah, it's
When
Christmas.
I came back from the pub. When I came back
As
from the
Noddy
pub.
Holder says.
It's Christmas.
Sorry, carry on.
That should be a question for chat. What our favourite and least favourite Christmas songs are. Someone ask that now because I just want to cut a heel promo on a couple of the most popular Christmas songs that everyone loves and
me
I
too.
don't. Huh?
Me too.
Yeah, we both have a few like hot takes. 75 quid though for your silver Game Boy Micro.
That's what it's worth.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, when I got back from the pub last night, I was out drinking with Nay and my best friend Lewis and his girlfriend Raquel over at the loading bar in Stratford. Secret Weapon, really cool place. And I got back and literally just bought 2 basically toy cars when I got in, and a game that I'm curious to check out because it has an interesting premise. It basically looks like a 2018 attempt at Need for Speed Underground, but it's also got atrocious reviews. So I found it for cheap on eBay and I was like, fuck it, I'm getting that.
We love atrocious
Passes out in bed.
reviews.
What else was there? Will we get more GTA/GTA-esque games on the channel? You mean like open world, blow things up sort of games? Hell yeah.
Did we ever
Fun.
play GTA 5 on this channel? I don't think we have.
Yeah, fun story. I've never played GTA 5.
Fucking do it.
I know. I'm waiting to get it on PS4 and do it properly.
Yeah, because it is really good. I played it on PS3 to start with.
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
so good I bought it on PS4.
Yes, there you go.
That was like my recommendation.
Yeah, related sort of to that, LP is requesting a run-through of LA Noire.
You know what? I think if I was going to do an edited series again like Heavy Rain,
Yeah.
or a stream series, LA Noire might be something I would consider because it's similar to, but it's different enough that it wouldn't be like playing perhaps Detroit Become Human or Beyond Two Souls.
Yes. Yeah,
Which,
yeah.
Slight off topic, but Beyond Two Souls, I'm not a massive fan of it. It's like Heavy Rain,
But even worse writing.
but it does a Quentin Tarantino in that it's presented out of chronological order,
Oh dear. Okay.
and then it's David Cage writing on top of that. So it's like, if Quentin Tarantino goes out of chronological order, you're, okay, that's fine. You're like a genius. David Cage, not so much of
you
a
can
genius.
still tell a competent story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But LA Noire is good. Like Rockstar had a little hand in it. I think it was Team Bondi was the other. They were sort of the main developers of it. But LA Noire is enjoyable, and I think it was re-released on PS4, and it's going down in price. So
Yep.
you may well see that. Can you take over? I'm doing shit.
Okay. Tackle some of the chatto, will you?
So Nick says GTA 4 is my favourite GTA. You know people have opinions and they're wrong.
Right.
No, it's fine. GTA 4 is
I think it just that's my thoughts on GTA.
thirsty.
Yeah, GTA 4 is thirsty.
For me, it kind of dragged. In the middle, it was like,
I think it got too serious for people,
Yeah.
and I think in a way it was good that Saints Row 2 came along around the same time to be like, nah, this is what people really wanted from a GTA style game. And then by GTA 5 they were like, yeah, we messed up. We know you wanted the silliness. Let's bring that back.
Yeah, I think it was kind of just there. I think there were about 100 missions in total. There were loads of missions.
Yeah.
And GTA 5 does this thing where it's got lots of missions, but every single one has like a moment of hilarity or something special. GTA 4's like, go there, shoot this guy, give him a lift, do this, do that.
Pick up your cousin, take him bowling.
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't really that concerned about the bowling segment. Like, it was fine. I'm like, cool, that's something cool you can do. It was more just like the general missions that were story related. I mean, you're trying to tell a story here. Don't make the story secondary to like mini side quests.
Yeah.
But I think we could even do like GTA 3 and stuff. I think
GTA 3 was not that. GTA 3 was thirsty. Yeah, GTA 3 was like the OG game. I remember staying up all night, having like a sleepover in my friend's house in primary school playing that.
Oh, nice.
Because, we had responsible parents that let us play 18 games at like 10 years old, but we've not become mass murderers just yet.
See, I don't really like Vice City, which is an unpopular opinion, it seems.
What?
I don't really like Vice City.
Look at what you just made me do.
They changed the driving, and I really enjoyed the driving on 3 in San Andreas. Felt nice and heavy, nice and normal, and 5 as well.
Yep.
4 and Vice City have like slightly fucked driving physics, and it kills me. I can't do some of the missions because the driving and the shooting as well in Vice City is a little bit odd.
Funny, I never noticed that.
The locking on is it's a bit different, and it just throws me for 6.
Yeah.
So I get the setting and I get the map and everything. I'm like, this is really cool. I can't.
Wish you could play it.
I can't progress because it doesn't work for me.
Oh, that's funny because Vice City was one of the few GTA games I actually completed right through to the end.
It's interesting though. LP saying San Andreas and 5 not so good.
Has someone just beefed on San Andreas?
Opinions. It's opinions, I think everyone's got their favourite GTA. I like GTA 2, which was top down.
Yes, I like that.
A lot of people like top down GTA in East London. I realised no one's going to understand.
I was going to say, you've just made a reference.
Okay, so last night we were drinking at the loading bar in Stratford.
Yes.
And the loading bar, it's got games consoles. There's a PS4, there's PCs, there's a SNES Mini, there's arcade cabinets. And someone comes in off their Christmas do. She's a lady, she's in a suit sort of thing. She's steaming drunk. She comes and she goes,
this was like 6:30 as well.
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Gaming?
In the fucking East End
in
of
East
London?
In East End of London. And she was just like beating down these games. And we were like, you don't think there's video games in the East End of London?
Hello, ma'am. Welcome to video games. They've only been around for about 30 years.
Yeah, sort of like, you're wrong.
It was like she was going off like, those people who like get ranting all like racist when it's like, oh, all the brown people around here coming over here. It's just like all these PS4s coming over here taking our pub in the East End of London.
In the East End of fucking London.
We were just leaning over from our table like, ma'am, are you not aware that like video games have existed?
And this is like a gaming pub. You walked into a gaming pub and now you're
sorry, I wasn't aware that like east of Liverpool Street Station video games were banned in the East End of London. That's just not a thing you do.
Theresa May hasn't done that yet.
She will decree that the only acceptable game in the East End of London is old copies of Monopoly.
I wouldn't put it past her, to be honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't put fucking anything past her at this point. What else is there? Apparently Dan can never understand your enjoyment of flying missions.
To be fair, I was just good at flying missions. So I think it's the same thing with me and Vice City. If you can't do something, you get annoyed with it.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I like spent hours flying around San Andreas and GTA 5. So I know the flying in that inside out. But if you can't do the flying missions, yeah, I agree. It probably would suck.
Yeah, it was pretty bollocks. Well, if you can't do it. James Carmody has some recommendations for good open world games. Prototype 1 and 2. Heard a lot of good things about that. Gun. I think I own that one. I never played it.
I also own that.
The Saboteur. Heard a lot of good things about that. Red Faction Guerrilla. I actually own that. And I have played it before. It's on the same engine as Saints Row 2.
Is it?
But it's set in the Red Faction universe. It's set on Mars and there's terraforming and destructible scenery. So imagine Saints Row 2 on an alien colony on Mars with destructo scenery. Yeah, it's about as riotous as you can expect. It is good fun, and I have a copy of it. I want to play it at some point. Jason. Yeah, Jason saying that the question earlier was, do you need any help with anything stream/website related? So,
I mean, if you know about Twitch moderation, I'm not saying we need it yet.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I've had a few instances where I'm like, I'd like to moderate this, but I don't know how I do things.
Yeah.
So maybe even just a little helping hand of like, this is how you turn a comment off when someone's made like the shittest comment. That sort of thing would be useful, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't have a website at the minute.
Do we not?
Do we not?
Oh yeah, he mentioned the web. Sorry, I wonder why you were mentioning website. And I was like, oh yeah, he brought it up. Okay. So, Red Faction Guerrilla sounds like Saints Row 4. Yeah, it's probably where they got the inspiration for it, to be honest.
Yeah, you like Saints Row? I haven't really delved into Saints Row.
Saints Row 2 is my jam. Saints Row 2 is my absolute jam.
Shit, that went a bit Donkey Kong on this level. You know the minecart level?
Oh yeah.
It just went super Donkey Kong. I was like, oh fuck, they're everywhere.
Never go full Donkey Kong. Also, James is demanding that Rogue Warrior and Saw 2 needs to be beaten down. Rogue Warrior, if it's the game I think it is.
Star Wars Rogue Warrior. Is it?
I don't know.
Is that, or is it just Rogue Warrior? It sounds like a Star Wars thing, but I could just be talking out of my ass.
I also swear there's a game. Right.
There we go.
Oh wow, made by Rebellion back in 2009. Right, Rogue Warrior is universally panned by critics who cited it as one of the worst games of all time.
Fucking hell.
Criticism of the game included poor controls, multiple glitches, frequent foul language, rushed production, uninteresting gameplay, short length, very limited multiplayer, and broken and exploited combat techniques.
That sounds pretty bad.
Well, if that's not a pitch, if that's not an application to be beaten down, yeah. Oh, he has experience as a Twitch mod, does Jason?
Oh, nice. Well, in which case...
Don't beat down a Star Wars game. Holy cow, do you want blacklisting from the internet?
What about that one that came out and was like broken on PS4? What was that?
Battlefront 2.
Was it? Was that it? Maybe.
Yeah.
We could beat that down. Other than that, no, I think Star Wars games are fine. But tell me Rogue Leader?
Rogue Squadron?
Yeah, there were Star Wars games with Rogue in the title.
Now, I'm trying to remember. I swear there was a game, because whenever you mention Rogue Warrior, it always reminds me of this game that I think... Yes, this is it. It's the one that Yahtzee Croshaw ranked his worst game of 2017. Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. So, the Warrior word was throwing me off. So that might be a game you have to check out at some point.
I thought you said Road Warrior, and I was like...
No, not the early 90s WWF tag team. Yeah, BF2 was 76 levels of broken. Yeah, that was where, in the end, EA had to be like, yeah, we're going to take out the loot boxes. This is the one where we've, like, fucked the cow in terms of loot boxes.
That's like jumping the shark, but
yes.
Fucking the cow.
Yeah, that's when you go one worse than jumping the shark. You jump the shark, land on land again, and then fuck a cow.
I can't even do this. I press the restart button instead of the jump.
Oops. He's just getting worse with it as the stream goes on.
You're going to be the expert by
I was going to say, by the end of it, I'll be doing like 3 million combos, and you'll just be like, I can't even get past the first jump. What's this thing with wheels on again? How does that work? Waste of shite. No, a watsy of shite. I assume you meant waste of shite. A watsy of shite.
What's that?
A watsy of shite. Oh, nice. Avoided the minecart.
Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, there we go.
Is it bad a bacon baguette I had this morning was put on a panini press?
No.
No. I fucking love paninis. I have a friend of mine who, when I go around their house, she always makes like ham and cheese toasties on. She's got like a George Foreman grill. I'm like drooling. They're so good.
You're talking shit about paninis, Nick. We love paninis.
Yeah.
They also make
you
those
misjudged
little,
your audience here, Nick.
They also make those little Premier League cards, don't they? Panini.
They do.
There we go.
They do. And focus. Hocus pocus.
FIFA 2003 for a plays.
Specifically FIFA 2003.
Because you can play as Maribor Lasco.
Who?
Well, if you'd like to explain who that is it like your cousin or something?
Yeah, my cousin played football and he was in FIFA 2003. What a claim to fame.
That would be a claim to fame.
Oh, survived. There we go. There we go. And then.
Not sure I can read that one out.
Oh, bollocks.
Panini makes Dan think of something else. Best console to play, but not for the games, but for how it feels. I've got one for this already.
Okay.
I would say the Dreamcast.
I knew you were going to say Dreamcast.
Well, yeah, the thing is, I find it hard to argue for the Dreamcast as the best console in terms of games, because
it had a pretty limited game library.
From 1998 to 2001, games were being developed for it, so it's probably one of the shortest production runs for a major console of games for it. Which means I can't be like, oh, there were all these great games. Like, there were a lot of good games. Like, proportionally, there were more good games than there should have been, but there's not like hundreds.
Yeah.
That being said, because the Dreamcast was my first console, and because a lot of them run at 60 frames a second, and because a lot of them have like little Japanese oddity to them,
Yep.
and like some really arcade influence from the Naomi hardware, it just feels so like the time I was growing up.
Yep.
And like, yeah, the Dreamcast is just the feels machine for me. Which is why do they keep breaking?
Yeah.
I'm like, I want my nostalgia, and the Dreamcast like, what? You want the menu? No, I don't.
Wait, you want to play these old games? You don't want to just look at them? Whoop.
Hello, Black and Mild. Welcome
Hey,
to the
he's
stream.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. As for my console to play for how it feels, that's a good question. I think my OG one would be the PS1 for the same reason you just cited. Oh, what was I doing there? Take over. Tag in. There we go. Tag. So, yeah, the PS1 for that sort of retro feel. And I just like the graphical style of the time. Like, full 3D, the early days of full 3D don't look good now, but it kind of has an art style to it and a look that's unique. It doesn't look realistic at all, and if you tried to go for realism in those days, it just looked shite.
It did, didn't it?
But some of those games with which went for an art style instead.
Abe's Odyssey.
Yes! Oh, that was the game. Yes! Which is why I really enjoyed Oddworld New and Tasties. Oh, yes. Yeah, there you go. But I think just to play and the way it feels, I think PS3. PS3 for me is the nicest combination of interesting selection of games, first HD console. I just like the layout, the way the PS3 interface is laid out. It's a good selection. Like, for me, the PS4 has a nice controller. It plays smoothly, but there's just not enough games on it. And too much of it is tainted with the original sin of modern gaming, to me. But PS3 just has enough like, it brings together the things I loved about the PS2. Better graphical fidelity, a nice look to the games.
See, that's interesting, because I feel like the PS3 was the first time we realised that we could do anything with games. Before that, like, the PS2 had limitations. The PS3 was like, whoa, there's so much that's new on here. Like, David Cage was sort of really getting into his element with Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls.
Absolutely.
And a lot of other games were like, wow, we can finally, for the first time, model this thing that we couldn't do before.
Yeah, it's like, as much as the Gran Turismo games were never quite as good after GT4, GT4 was like the absolute pinnacle of where the PS2 could go. When Gran Turismo 5 came along, it was like, alright, this is what the PS3 can do. And it was like, skyrocketed up into another level.
But that being said...
Oh, and Driver San Francisco, one of my favourite games of all time.
You have different views about the PS4. I think maybe Yakuza has really changed my views on the PS4.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go back a few levels because I'm sucking at that.
Should we just start from the beginning?
I'll start the Pro levels.
Yeah. Now, which ones? Is this a more difficult version of the same
level?
level?
Yeah. But the early ones aren't too bad.
Oh, I'm so fucked.
But yeah, so I feel like the PS4 could potentially be my favourite console of all time because there is a lot of good stuff on it.
Absolutely.
And it tends to be like some of the games like the best in their series. I think Yakuza 6 and 0 were amazing games.
Yep.
Kiwami and Kiwami 2, wonderful remakes. And like there's so much stuff. GTA 5 was obviously a re-release, but that was great. Like a lot of stuff's getting re-released, and I think that counts. I'm like, if you can put a PS1, PS2, or PS3 game on the PS4.
Well, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is kind of what made me switch to PS4 from... Because it was weird, I had an Xbox One to begin with for the longest time, and I never really got on with it. Just never clicked for me. Even having the Forza... I do want to get a 360 to go back through the Forza series.
Yeah.
Forza Horizon 4 is my game of the year, but I'm able to play it on my PC. So there you go. It's a PC game to me. It's not necessarily an Xbox game. Do you know what I mean?
But that's sort of what I'm saying. Like I think the re-releases count for the PS4. So you've got
they do.
Spyro Trilogy,
Yep.
Crash Bandicoot Trilogy, you've got LA Noire, you've got Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, got a re-release.
Grim Fandango was it? Yep.
But you've got everything that was released beforehand and the PS4 games that are great.
Yep. Even stuff like Burnout Paradise. We're not a huge fan of it, but it did get a remaster release on PS4. That adds it to the library. It's good stuff.
I just feel like, how can you argue with such a great library?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think PS4 is on its way. I'm sure once this generation's done, I'll look back and...
I see what you mean. Yeah, I thought you were going to say PS5 is on its way. I was like, whoa,
not yet.
Comment.
Not yet. P-Fly guys now worked out the lineal English Premier League champion through 96 to 97. The title changed hands on both the first and last days.
Wow.
Blimey. Who were the winners then? I know it's still somewhere buggy as hell and it broke many PS3s, but Skyrim on the PS4 is beautiful. I can absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
Also, Medieval would have a remaster. I remember playing that a little bit on the PS1. That weird sort of quirky third-person platformer sort of thing.
Yeah, I've got Medieval the original, and it's good.
Yep.
I could do with the remaster of it, yeah. I think that's the thing. Sometimes you haven't checked out a game like Grim Fandango. I'm like, I can get behind that on the PS4 because I missed it first time round.
Yes.
And like, I think Spyro 3 as well, I've never really played. So if I get the Spyro trilogy, I'll be like, hey, it's Spyro 3.
Whereas for me, Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon was one of my OGs on PS. It was weird for me when the Crash Bandicoot trilogy came out. Because people were like, oh, I don't remember the first few games being this hard. And I was like, trust me. I've like gone back and revisited. Crash Bandicoot 1 was the toughest game of the entire series. It was awfully difficult. They made some concessions on the remaster, but also the way the hitboxes and the way the platforming worked on the newer gen meant that it also had a lot of challenge, and it was still as frustrating as ever. But I can definitely tell you, as someone who went back about 5 years ago now, 6 years ago, and deliberately went back to 100% complete Crash Bandicoot 1, having aced Crash Bandicoot 2 and 3 time and time again, 100%ed it, could never get Crash Bandicoot 1. It was just brutally difficult, especially how you had to complete a level in one go to get the box gem.
I feel like
there were so many random hidden paths that you just couldn't guess where they were, and I still have that 100% save file on my PS3, and it's going with me to the grave.
I feel like another game that this is going to happen for is Rayman, if that ever gets a re-release.
Yes!
The original Rayman is hard as fuck.
Yeah. Rayman 2 was my first ever game on the PS1. It's the game I got with my PS1.
Not as hard as Rayman 1. Rayman 1 is like, it gets super fucking tough.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can believe it.
And I feel like if they re-release that, people would go, was Rayman always this hard? Yes, it was.
Yeah, it fucking was. Believe it. You better believe it.
Wait.
It's like Sonic Mania. I think in some ways, Sonic Mania has stayed true, because that is a tough game.
Yeah, no, right, you're right.
But it has a lovely flow to it. The only thing that bugged me about Sonic Mania, the one thing I wish they had done away with, even to be inaccurate, is the 10-minute time limit. Because the levels are so much bigger now, and they've got so creative with the level design. I remember exploring one level being like, oh, this is amazing, and then 10 minutes, oh, you died. What? Okay. Why, of all the, like, nods to the old days, why'd you keep that one? It just felt outdated. Like, keep the live system, that's how the game works, but that one just felt out of place, you know what I mean? When you've got these huge, remastered, beautiful new... Some of these levels are all new and everything, and they're gorgeous, and they're so full of secrets. Why limit it? I want to find everything.
And like, there's no real reason to limit it. Obviously, back in the day, it was sort of like, oh, it's got to be like arcade gaming, otherwise people won't like it. But now it doesn't. So
yeah, exactly.
Just don't limit it, man.
By the way, Aston Villa were the 96-97 lineal Premier League champions.
Well, hey.
Excellent. Well done, Aston Villa, on that achievement from 20-odd years ago.
I think you've also found out who Maribor is.
Yes. James has explained, are a civilian team, but FIFA 2003 is the only FIFA PES they have been playable in. Otherwise, they've only been in Football Manager. Now, there's a game series I've never been able to get into. I've had Football Manager a couple of times, wanted to like it, just couldn't.
See,
I just couldn't get into it. Like, in pre-season friendlies, I'd select someone on the wing, and they'd immediately hand in a transfer request. And I'd be like, what?
You're on the wing, all right?
Dude, I put you on the wing, goddammit! And then 3 weeks into the season, the press would be like, well, this manager's shit, isn't it? I'm like, I've won my 3 games! I've just got one annoyed winger who wanted to play centre-half or something.
They all hate him.
Yeah! I'm like, alright. Well, this is a dictatorship, motherfucker. I'm running this like Soviet Russia.
See, I had a similar thing with international cricket captain.
Oh, right.
I was more of a cricket dude.
Yeah, always happy.
And the thing is, you don't really get to play in that. They just the games happen. And I could never find out exactly what made us win. Like, sometimes my team would do amazingly. We'd score like 700 runs in a test match. I'd be like, what the fuck? And then the next game, like, everyone would get out for 1. And I'd be like, I haven't changed anything.
Yeah.
And like, I think the lack of control in those kind of games, I'm like, I need more control over the games, please.
Yeah, it's like there was an online management game called Blackout Rugby. Well, it's still a thing. And I've been back and forth on it for a few years. I'm finally kind of done with it now. Not because it was a bad game necessarily. It was really fun, like managing your club and building your stadium and recruiting players. It had this sort of like eBay system for buying new players, which is sometimes frustrating as hell, just like real eBay is. But it was really satisfying building a squad. The problem is, there was a core of players that had been around since the start of the game who had amassed all the money in the world, and whatever country you started off your team in, you'd get to a certain level and just either be thrashing everyone 50-0 or losing every game 100-0, and you had no way basically of closing the gap to the top teams because they were just getting richer and richer, and you were just sort of earning a bit more money here and there.
So what you're saying is the rich get richer and the poor get poorer?
Yes, Jeremy Corbyn would have hated that game. And in the end, I sort of, it was a fun game, but it just sort of there's only so much you can do when you're stuck in Division 3. You kind of know who you're going to beat going into any season, and you know who you're going to lose by a billion points to, and it almost doesn't matter what tactics you play or anything if you've got the richer, better squad. Rugby's not like football where, like, there's a reason why the FA Cup is a famous football tournament and there's not really an equivalent in rugby. Rugby is more a sort of game where it's harder for the underdog teams to sneak a win, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Football has that sort of luck of bounce of the ball and that, and you can pull off those shot victories more. Alright, what have we got? LP says they don't want to see Rayman remastered. If they gave us a new one, I think I'd be down for that. If Nintendo can somehow keep goddamn Mario fresh, then surely someone can do the same for Rayman. Ironically, they did try and freshen him up with the Raving Rabbids stuff, and then the Raving Rabbids turned out to be the really popular part of it, and Rayman was like, okay, I'm just going to leave now then.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Obviously, I'd rather see that. I just meant if there was a Rayman remaster, I reckon it'd have the Crash Bandicoot effect of people not remembering the difficulty. But I mean, I'm happy either way, really. Personally, I think I've got the original Rayman, so I'm fine just playing that on the PS1, if I'm honest. And cheers.
Oh, Jason's got a
That's a big question.
Actually, you can ask that to both of us. Now he does watch his wrestling. He comes to Riptide a lot with me.
So yeah, thing is, I'm sort of more into indie wrestling now. Like back in the day, WWE, when Edge was about.
Yep.
You know, I love.
We both had our phase when we were younger where WWE was it, and I think pretty much everyone gets into wrestling through WWE in some way or another.
But nowadays, I can't keep up with WWE storylines, and Riptide is just one I can go to. I can miss out 2 months, and the matches will still be fresh and hilarious. So
yes, you can go there. You know you'll have a good time. Yeah, exactly. So for me, I do have some wrestlers that I really like in WWE. I kind of keep tracks on how they're doing, and maybe check out some of their matches if they're particularly good. My favourites in WWE: Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch. So fucking happy she's finally taken off. Her run recently has been amazing to watch. It's been so cool. And Asuka. I fucking love Asuka. She is amazing. And that's going back to the NXT days. I remember seeing her on the rise back then. I was just like, Asuka is unbelievable. I also owe a debt to Bayley. I do like Bayley because it was her match with Sasha Banks, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, 3 years ago now, that kind of cemented me as a wrestling fan for life. Even though I don't watch WWE anymore, that was the one that really... It was like... Everything I love about wrestling is in that match. It's not the best match I've ever seen, but it's the match that just sums up everything that I really like about about wrestling. So that's kind of it, you know what I mean? And my faves outside of WWE, Viper. That's kind of obvious to anyone that knows me. Charlie Morgan. Charlie Morgan is phenomenal. Those of you that watch WWE, she's in NXT UK. Hopefully she'll be in it a bit more. Selfishly, I don't want it to be because it means I'll see her less. But if it means the rest of the world finds out how fucking amazing she is, go for it. You'll love her. Seriously, she's so good. Travis Banks, same thing. So he'll be in NXT UK a bit more. Who else is there? Chris Brooks. We love Chris Brooks.
I love Chris Brooks. I think if
he is a boy.
Yeah, what I like, he's very tall. Like, he's taller than your average wrestler.
Yeah, he is tall boy.
But he kind of doesn't. He uses it to his advantage, but he doesn't use it as a point. It's just like, oh yeah, Chris is pretty tall. Like,
yeah.
He's an amazing wrestler outside of that, and I think everything he does for wrestling as well. Like
he's very creative.
Yeah.
He'll put together all sorts of different matches, serious, funny.
Like on Halloween, we saw a match where they. Well, I mean, you can explain it. I need to concentrate.
Well, we had a match where he was supposed to wrestle a guy called David Starr, and David Starr wanted it to be a dead serious, like, indie wrestling match. Chris Brooks was like, well, it's Halloween, so I thought I'd resurrect Frankenstein, which was his injured tag partner, Kid Lycos. And David Starr had to find his own Frankenstein, which was Charlie Evans. And then what happened was David Starr tried to get his Frankenstein, Charlie Evans, to fight Chris Brooks' Frankenstein, Kid Lycos, except that Charlie Evans became the bride of Frankenstein. So that didn't really work.
And it was just so fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Halloween. You're not going to a wrestling show just for heavy storylines that you're going to be... Because as well, if I'm going every other month, I don't know what's happening in Riptide. And yet, that you could just tune into at any point and be like, that was great. Like, some great technical wrestling, but also some hilarity.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the good thing with a lot of indie promotions. You'll have matches that you can dip in and out of. You'll have 1 or 2 ongoing storylines that are really cool to follow. But I really like matches with, like, self-contained storylines as well. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I really like the emphasis on in-ring storytelling. Someone I didn't mention earlier, she's a heel. She's a baddie. I boo her ridiculously, but that's what she's supposed to do. Nina Samuels is fucking amazing. I don't know anyone else who's quite as expressive. Like, I can't take my eyes off her when she's in the ring in a way of just, like, I just love watching all her facial expressions in that. Like, she'll roll her eyes, she'll be really catty, she'll trash talk the fans and her opponent. Her shocked face when her opponent somehow kicks out is one of the best around. It's so fucking, it's amazing. So, she's generally so good at it. And that's the sort of wrestling I really like. I don't know the name of every single move. I'm not that sort of fan. I like really good wrestling, but I like, it's violent theatre. That's how I describe it to people who don't really know it. It's violent theatre. Yeah, it's scripted, but so's theatre. Yeah, it's live performance, but so's theatre. And theatre can tell you some of the most dramatic and heart-rending and funny stories ever. You know what I mean?
We were saying earlier, you don't get anyone like a Macbeth performance going, he's not really dead. Like, it doesn't happen.
We know who's going to get murdered.
You don't get smarks in the theatre, so you shouldn't get smarks at wrestling. But for some reason, people seem to think it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to point out the fact they're not really doing that.
Oh.
I think Dan's got a good question. If you want to convert a board game into a video game, what game would you pick? And what changes would you make to the board game to make it a better video game? And I'm also going to expand on this because I know there's stuff like Risk, Monopoly, other things that have been made into a board game. So one that hasn't already, in a way. An interesting side note is one of the fastest speedruns you can do is Cluedo, or Clue in America.
Right.
Because you're allowed to guess from the beginning of the game who done it. And all you need to get right is the person, the murder weapon, and the location. So what speedrunners do is just guess from the start the default 3 options. Like, you just literally mash the X button. And then if you're right in the one in sort of thousands chance, you've got the fastest speedrun.
You've won the game in 3 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And that is basically the record.
Okay.
Anyway, what's your answer to that question?
I don't know if I've played enough board games to really know. We were playing some card games last night, but I don't know how they'd work.
I know you can play Cards Against Humanity online, but basically...
I've seen Super Fight played online as well.
People are a lot less funny online, so...
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen, I think NerdCube was involved in a live Super Fight game. I think it also had Total Biscuit in it, and Dodger as well. It's quite cool.
Jammy Dodger.
Huh?
Total Biscuit and Jammy Dodger.
Total Jammy Dodgers. Boo Nina, yeah, LP has the right idea. I was there when she cashed in Pro Wrestling Eve's version of Money in the Bank and beat Charlie Morgan. Like, me and my friends were all massive Charlie Morgan fans, and we were like bowed heads like that. It was like we were at a funeral. And then when she held the bell, we were just there, and I just raised middle fingers in the air. It was like genuine sadness, and that's what I mean. It's violent theatre. Theatre can make you feel all sorts of emotions, even though it's acted out on a stage. So what's the difference between that and wrestling, honestly?
Yeah, no, that is a great way to put it.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Preston's here.
Yes, Preston. Have you got any questions?
Yeah.
For me, board games, to be fair, there is one board game that I kind of love that isn't that, like, it's not that well known, but it's something that in my family we know and love.
Yep.
And it's a board game called Taxi. So basically, you get a map of London with all the streets.
Yep.
And it's got marks every time you have to stop. So where there's like a busy road, there's lots of marks, and when it's not so busy road, there's less. So basically, you've got to guide your taxi around, and you can move one mark every time. And you pick up passengers, you get pick-up points that come up, and then you get drop-off points, and you have to do it, and you get money for how far you've gone, and also like all the passengers are like illustrated, and like the rich ones give you nothing, and the sort of kind ones give you lots of tips, and it's so there's a little bit of strategy, but it's mainly just a little bit of random luck versus a little bit of strategy, which is cool.
Yep.
So I would quite like to see that made into a game, in that if you could just sort of drive about maybe in a driving engine, but also have to memorize routes and play against others. I think that could be done well, but obviously you have to think about it.
It sounds like a more methodical and tactical Crazy Taxi. So, sensible taxi.
Yeah, sensible taxi. That's really what I'm pitching here.
What? Oh, cool. Ow, balls. That went wrong.
I think I do remember Monopoly Tycoon, Jason, to answer your question.
So I'm like determined I could get a pretty decent score on this one.
Yeah, this is spots mode. So this is shorter courses where you can
Yes,
put
this is
together
more
a
my
combo.
shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's lots of new spots modes that we've unlocked, so we can.
Nice. Okay, I really like this.
Am I studying for the knowledge? No, but my boss is. He doesn't want to be an electrician anymore. He wants to be a taxi driver.
You're going to take his place.
Yeah, I'm going to become my own boss, which I already am because I'm self-employed. So I don't know what's going on there. Madden 19 is broken, apparently.
Oh,
according to James. He had a game where it ran like 5 plays, scored 9 touchdowns. That sounds like a bad thing.
That sounds pretty bollocks, to be honest with you.
I was reading. I was like, I don't think you should have 5 plays all game and score 9 touchdowns.
9 touchdowns from 5 plays.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Maths doesn't quite work there.
A lot of interceptions to me.
Yes, have
occurred.
LP's described it perfectly. Difference between theatre and wrestling, about 6 pints per punter. There you go. Yeah, Madden 19's a pile of bollocks.
Ow.
Sounds like the knowledge to the video game. Yeah, it could well be. I seem to remember there was a game that Total Biscuit did in his first impressions bollocks. Or it was like, it wasn't quite a WTF is, but it was something similar. So, like, it was like a sort of, I think it was called Sensible Taxi at one point, but it was just a really bad game in general. So it was nowhere near what you wanted there.
I've still got to play Taxi Rider, which is the simple series version of Crazy Taxi.
Oh dear.
But it actually commands about a 50 quid price tag online.
Well, that'd be the rarest game you own.
I'm not paying 50 quid for a simple series game. There is no fucking way.
Oh, James has clarified. He ran the same 5 plays all game.
Oh, I see. You did 5 plays. Right.
He didn't just have 5 possessions all game.
Still sounds like something that shouldn't have really happened.
No. Oh, go on. And go on. And
trying to get my speed up with perfects.
Yeah. Momentum works in weird ways in this game.
Thing is, if you don't land a perfect on spots mode, you really fuck your combo.
Exactly. But I like how more focused this is and shorter, like there's less to remember.
Yeah, no, for sure. I quite like the random challenge. I think once your brain gets into OlliOlli mode, I like throwing things at my brain and being like, yeah, can you handle this, brain? And it does. To be fair,
this is like millennial version of brain training.
One of my favourite... Yes. One of my favourite games for that is Dance Dance Revolution, or Dancing Stage as it's known over here.
Yep.
I never had the dance map, but you can play it on a controller. The 4 face buttons and the 4 D-pad buttons you can use as the up, down, left and right.
Okay.
And I can get myself into a mode where I can just purely see all the steps coming up, like really fast, but I love rhythm games, so it's just a really good thing to do, to just watch and like get in, you know, when you're in the zone. I get like that, and I'm just like, this is so much fun to just be good at something for once.
Yeah, it is nice. This has that kind of zen focus to it.
So Midas Games or Blast Games who are Blast Games?
Good question.
Because I know there's a company called Phoenix, and I've deliberately avoided their games for a long time because they're basically games developed for kids, so it's like colouring in games.
Right.
So it features a few FMVs of Snow White and colouring in a picture of Snow White, and that's the game.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's not really a game. Like, to qualify as a game, there has to be some sort of interactive element. They must have tried to make it a video game. Like the Sniper, it was a video game. It was just shit. Colouring, I'm like, you're on the edge here.
Yeah,
it's not
this
really
is tenuous.
Yeah, it's like if someone just put a load of text in a video game. It's just a reading game, not visual novels because you have a choice. But
yeah,
the sort of I don't know who Blast Games are, but they're not the people that make Fortnite, are they? Who does that?
I don't know.
I'd choose them over Midas, obviously.
Yeah, we've joked about this on multiple occasions. We are not going to... Like, it's like, if you want to be really popular on Twitch, play Fortnite. Yeah, we'd rather just not be popular on Twitch. Honestly, though, we'd rather have our own audience just by playing whatever the fuck we want. That's the point for this entire channel, always has been.
And I think, yeah, you came from playing just racing games, which was burning you out.
Yeah, massively.
No pun.
Well, hey!
Burnout is a racing game. Oh, Epic Games makes Fortnite. Right, okay. That's a good clarification. But yeah, I've always been into loads of types of games. Sports games, racing games, skating games, 2D, 3D, whatever. Like, if it's a good game, I'll play it. Like, I like visual novels. I like quite a lot of just choosing a choice and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, I don't want to restrict myself to just one type of game. So obviously, we only really play what we think you'll enjoy on the Armbar Arcade. There are some games where I'm like, I can't make a video out of this. It's just it's not going to happen. But we don't limit ourselves in any other terms. It's like, if it's going to make a good video, we'll play it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a golden rule is, I wouldn't want to play Fortnite for... I mean, I'd play it once. I'd definitely play it once or twice if I felt like it.
Plus, the thing is, everyone's playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
So
I think if you're looking for a Fortnite streamer, like, I don't know how many people are playing OlliOlli 2 on Twitch at the minute, but it's probably less than, like, 5.
It's not that many people.
Gotta say. So, it's cool that sometimes we do get people just dropping the streams like, I'd kick your ass at this game. And it's like, you came for the game, didn't you? You didn't come for me. But sometimes they stick around.
I like the fact we just agree with them. It's like, oh, 1v1 me, bro. No.
I had that with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Like, I was in a bit of a rut with trying to clear some goals because I would kick your ass at this game. You would, wouldn't you? Because there's some games like OlliOlli I'm not the best in the world at, but I've got a nice groove going with it.
Yes.
And I just enjoy that. I don't need to be the best in that. Some people do like the competitive element of gaming, but I think sometimes I'm like, I don't need to be the best in the world. There's so many people in the world.
And trust me, I've seen top level like Street Fighter players and like Rocket League players. Like, those are the guys that dedicate their craft to it. You know, like that's their job now.
Rainmeister's here.
Yes.
What are the chances of a maxed out racing Let's Play on the channel? I would say less than 0%.
There is more chance of me actually ingesting my own liver on the channel.
How many people do you reckon there are streaming that on Twitch? Liver ingestion.
Well, you know. It's like I was watching some old clips of someone's put together old like montages of the news segments from old series of Top Gear. And hang on, and I'll get back to you on that one. And there we go. And he said about how, I want to say it was how Socrates died, or it might have been someone else, some sort of old philosopher. He died because he ingested like a poison, because the way he was going to be executed was someone's going to reach up his bottom and pull his heart out through his anus with a hook.
That sounds pretty shit to have happen to you.
And there's more chance of me doing that on stream.
One thing I will say is, talking about people being the best in the world at something, Raymond Terrific is a motherfucker. Look at the, he's every single level. Well, not that one. Okay,
Man Feelings is coming for him.
But basically, at one point in OlliOlli 2, Raymond Terrific had all the daily grinds, all the spots, every level. It was just like...
Do you think he's actually one of the devs?
It was just like, look at the world best. It's Raymond Terrific. I was like, dude. So this is what I'm saying about being the best at a game. You need to dedicate some time. And if you're cool with doing that, that's fine. Like, I'm not the sort of person that can settle down and play just one game forever. But if you are and you want to be the best in the world, then more power to you.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Like, it's like playing guitar for me. Like, I got hung up in the early days of knowing that other people were better and being like, what's the point? I'm like, well, loads of people play guitar, and there's all... Especially with music, it's subjective anyway. You do whatever you want with it. You play whatever you are. Johnny Ramone never got hung up on the fact he didn't even like playing guitar solos. It wasn't even a case that he couldn't play it. He just didn't like it. So, fuck it. Do what you want with it. So, games are to be enjoyed however you want it to be. What else is there? Aston Villa win 97-98 EPL Linear Championship for the second year in a row. The championship changed hands on the first and last day. Nice. Okay. LP has said, just read a Cultaholic article. Well, there's your first mistake. 10 indie wrestlers will keep the UK scene alive. Viper was only 7. Martin Kirby was 5. Thoughts? They're wrong. That kind of backs up my previous statement, really. I mean, it's subjective. I like Martin Kirby. He's cool, but you know me.
We've seen Martin Kirby wrestle.
We have, yeah. At our first ever show, which was a What Culture Pro Wrestling show, ironically. Hey.
Ish.
That was a good show, in
fairness. It was a good show, yeah.
Yeah.
Show on its own, yeah.
Only skateboarding game I've really enjoyed is Skate 3. Possible play, says James.
Yeah, to be fair, Preston was calling for a Skate 3 plays as well, so I've got it. I bought it specifically to do a plays on it, and we just haven't. And that, to be fair, with me and gaming, that is a running theme. I've got like probably close to 1,200 games now, I would estimate. I've played about 700 of them.
Yeah.
But like, just getting to games that you buy. Like, if I buy 5 games, the chances of me playing all 5 before the next Christmas are very, very slim.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many games out there, and like, I feel like if I'm not excited about playing a game, there's no point me actually playing it. I'd rather, like, I used to, where I was reviewing games, I used to play like 200-300 games a year just to get some reviews out. But this year, I've basically played a lot of Yakuza, and I felt very happy for it. They're great games, so what can I say? We will get round to Skate 3 at some point.
Yeah. Also, how do you do switches in this?
Oh, grind switches.
Well, you switch direction. As in, so you go flip round like that.
Oh, the right or left trigger. So I usually just hold right.
Okay.
So, yeah, I hold right when I'm jumping. So anytime I'm jumping, I hold right, and he will do...
There you go.
There we go. But you just have to do the other timing normally, like you would.
Oops, press the wrong button. Now it's just throwing my sync off completely.
That's the thing. Whenever you learn something new in this game and you try and integrate it, your brain's just like, no, press a different button. You're like, brain, please. And then when you do it right, it feels the greatest. I think that's a real good thing about OlliOlli. Is like when you get it right, you're like, ah.
Easy to learn, hard to master, but satisfying as fuck when you do master it.
And
now for some reason I've started pressing the level restart button instead of. No, not that. Oh my god.
And I think this is an example of I'm gonna tie Nick's question into this because it's a good point. This is an example of a game where just the gameplay is so tight. All you need is gameplay here. Like, if they started putting a story in OlliOlli 2, I'd be like, no,
there's no need for a story.
There's no need.
Game.
And there
Some games just don't need a story. I talked about this in my Need for Speed Pro Street stream. That game would have been better without a story.
Yeah, there are games where they shoehorn a story
Gran
in.
Turismo has never needed a story.
And make them worse. Because stuff like R Racing, I think the story to that was like, you were an ambulance driver, then you were recruited to be a race driver. Like, what the fuck is that?
Believe it or not, do you know that that's in the Ridge Racer canon?
Yeah, no, I do. There was a Twitter thread.
Was there?
You made one, didn't you? Or someone made one.
Oh, yeah. People were talking about how Ace Combat and Ridge Racer are in the same universe. They're in the same canon. I love that sort of shit.
It's great.
I am that nerd.
Tying it back into Nick's question of, would Yakuza be a good visual novel? The answer is yes and no. Because for me, what Yakuza games do is they tell a story. So it's basically, if you were to watch a film of a Yakuza game, it would all make sense. But at every decision point, or where something needs doing, or there needs to be some sort of thing that changes the plot a little bit, Kiryu has a fight. So the fighting is a means to an end, basically. So every time there's a little gap, it's like, I need to find someone, you find something out, you beat them up, and then the story moves on. So it would make a good visual novel, because if you just made a choice instead of beating people up, it would still work in exactly the same way. Story choice, instead of story fight. But I also feel like the violence and the way that Yakuza is depicted in the game, I'm feeling like it's not going to be as good in visual novel form because there'll be like no sort of gang violence. It's like the Yakuza is depicted as an organisation that is just no one wants to be in it really in the Yakuza game. Everyone's like, I want to get out.
It's sort of out of necessity.
But yeah, they're all getting tugged back in and they're all So I think that's such a cool thing to have. Everyone is just like, I don't want to be here, but I have to. Like, everyone's got their motivations.
It's not even depicted as being like cool in any way. It's just like necessity.
Yeah, I think some games are missing that. Some games are like, I just want to be the best, and I'm like, that's not great motivation. Whereas Kiryu's like, I need to protect this person, or there's a reason for everything. And I really enjoy games that tie all loose ends up. Which there's another game for the PS4 which is called 428 Shibuya Scramble. Okay. Which is it is a visual novel, and basically you read through a scenario involving 5 people. Yeah. And there's a kidnapping, which they're all linked to it, and you make choices based on what happens in their day, which affect all of the other protagonists. And it's so fucking clever. At one point, I threw a cockroach out of a window, which I thought was inconsequential. Went into another story. And it landed on this girl who was afraid of cockroaches, who like, it fucked her entire story up and had to go back, not throw it out the window to progress. And I'm like, that's so clever. The writing is, so that's basically the antithesis of OlliOlli, because the writing's great and there's no gameplay essentially. Yeah. This is the gameplay's great and there's no need for writing. Both are acceptable types of video game that are great. So
yeah, actually, thinking about it, there is a game, I can't remember what it's called at the moment.
Describe him.
There's a game, I've played it on Steam before. Is it called, hang on.
It's not called Hang On, no.
No.
That's a different game.
Yes, it's called Emily is Away.
Yeah.
Indie visual novel, and the whole game is told through like Windows Messenger or AOL Messenger text boxes. And you sort of choose your I love the fact, it's presented through a chat client on Windows XP styled after ICQ and AOL Instant Messenger.
Wow.
And there's so many lovely references as you go through, because the whole story is you chat to this girl off and on once every year sort of thing, and as things progress, you meet her first at uni or college, and then things go on, and as decisions are made, she ends up either getting with this other guy, or maybe with you, or everything else, and it gets quite dark, and it's really just all conveyed through just instant message chats, which for our generation, we grew up on fucking MSN Messenger and that shit. So, and there's also lovely ways that it sets the time period. because like there's all these display icons you can pick, and they include like album covers from like Stadium Arcadium by Red Hot Chili Peppers, American Idiot by Green Day, Let Go, Avril Lavigne, film references like Lord of the Rings, 28 Days Later, all sorts of shit. It's so simple but so beautifully done. So yeah, really good.
I've seen a good question in chat. It involves Mirror's Edge, but I can't read all of it because I'm skateboarding.
I will read it for you.
Thank you.
Have you ever played a game where the difficulty has made you hate the game? I will go first. Mirror's Edge drove me insane to the point where I just fully quit. That's James Carmody.
I completed Mirror's Edge, not as a sort of haha, but I completed and enjoyed Mirror's Edge. I don't think the difficulty on that drove me insane, but there have been games, you're right, difficulty can really put you off games. Like,
yes. I'm trying to think what game that would have done for me. I never got past a certain level. I never got past the first level, or a certain level in Rayman 2, and it just put me off the game after that. The Cave of Bad Dreams. That fucked me up.
Yeah, I think there are games that are like bad by design, like Superman 64. Obviously, the difficulty's too much for anyone, any mortal.
Yeah.
But then there's games where like they're good. You can tell they're good, but they're just hard. Like I find a lot of shooters hard actually. There's a lot of like shooty shoot games on like Fallout 3. I think for me, like I know they've got VATS and it's designed to not be such a shooter, but I was struggling anytime I had to like beat something up. I was like, the fire ant's getting me. I was like, I'm enjoying the story and the setting and the pacing and the quests, but every time I have to fight something, I'm dying about 12 times.
And ironically, an answer from me needs to be Pro Street, because either the difficulty curve in that game is on the floor and you have no challenge, and then out of nowhere the AI will just cheese, or by design the game will be really difficult to actually complete, like the speed challenge races where the physics are so bad that the track can just ping you off the road randomly and you'll just crash. So it's not even a difficulty level, it's just cheap as fuck.
Interesting question from Dan Gleesack 134.
Yeah, we have a couple of new faces in chat. Hello Dan,
Yeah,
and hello
hello.
Jules Vernes as well.
Hello. What is Jules Verne, I think, writer
Jules
of-
Verne, yes.
Yeah. What is your favourite all-time game? So for me, I mean, it was kind of easy because reviewing games, I had to kind of get a mental picture of my all-time sort of top 10 and that.
Yep.
But recently, having played Yakuza 0 and Yakuza 6, I was like, I need to reassess, because it was Shenmue 2 for the longest time. I was like, yeah, Shenmue 2 is the greatest game of all time. And then Yakuza 0 came along, I was like, oh wow, this bit of storytelling though. So I'm going to say Yakuza 0 because it's just complete and wonderful. 6 is close. 6 is, the story's not as good, but it's in the Dragon Engine, which is beautiful, and the fights flow, and I just love cinematic storytelling, so that's why Shenmue and Yakuza are so high. But obviously there's a lot of honourable mentions, like WarioWare games are great. I love rhythm and minigame games like they're going out of fashion, which they have done. But yeah, stuff like that. All-time favourite game for you, AJ?
I'm just restarting the level all over again for you. This is one of those answers that has like 20 potential answers.
I think they were looking for one.
I think overall, it's so hard. It's so hard. I think for the influence, the amount of hours I put into it, the endearing appeal, the fact that I still revisit it to this day, it's one of Gran Turismo 2 or Gran Turismo 4. I adore that series. It's the Gran Turismo 2, hence why I'm playing it tomorrow as the Christmas special Hot Race Car Nights. It is the game that got me into being a petrol head and being a car fan for life. And it taught me stuff about car tuning that, like, blew away. Like, there is a great story that my dad loves to tell. He was doing, he's been a sign writer for my whole life. My parents are self-employed. And he used to do signage for a car tuning garage in London, a place that built, like, race engines for American muscle cars and drag racing and like, circuit racing cars and things like that. And my dad was in there, and I had to go along with him to work one day for some reason. I must have been like 11 years old or something. And he was chatting to the owner of the place, this really experienced mechanic and engine builder who knew his shit inside and out. And they were talking about, on this engine, they were like, oh, we're going to put a new flywheel on it. And out of nowhere, I piped up with, yeah, but you don't want to make the flywheel too light, because otherwise you'll lose RPMs going up hills, or it can affect the engine in a certain way. And this guy, this veteran engine builder, just looked down at this tiny human down there who had somehow just schooled him on how flywheels work. And he was just like, I'm sorry, what did the small person say? He was totally right. What the fuck? And I learned it strictly from Gran Turismo 2. That's how I got it. Gran Turismo 4 is the best Gran Turismo game, which is why I think it's my favourite. And I sank so... It's probably the reason I could have done better in my A-levels. But it was that game that just sunk so many of my hours in. From when it was released in 2005 through to probably when Gran Turismo 5 came out. And I've even gone back since. Gran Turismo 4 is just... So that's probably my answer.
So I see James has a question about games, finishing games, I think. I keep reading them whilst skating.
Have you ever had a game that's fucked you up after finishing it? Spec Ops The Line fucked me up for days. I've heard that game has a big old load of plot twists in it. You first?
Okay, so...
Let's have a go. Yeah.
I mean, I can't give any spoilers, but Yakuza 6 made me very sad and then enraged. But I was like, sort of... a combination of like
the feels.
Like, the feels, which I think qualifies as being a bit fucked up after finishing it.
Yeah.
Yakuza 0 as well. This is why like they're such strong storytellers. I'm like, my heartstrings. Why have you done this?
Don't make me feel things.
Those are probably my candidates for that type of game.
Yeah.
Have you got any of those?
Over to you.
Thank you.
I think the best one for me is probably all three of the first three Metal Gear Solid games. I love those games. The first Metal Gear Solid game, the way the story unfolded, and you know, a lot of people like to mock Hideo Kojima for the load of waxing lyrical about nuclear warfare and things like that. Metal Gear Solid 2, the final half out of that is just absolutely fucking balmy. It is ridiculous in the best ways. It makes you question everything, and it also makes you go, the fuck is this? The fuck is going on? That's where famously you end up in prison, running around naked on Arsenal gear, while the colonel that you've been talking to the entire game starts melting down because it turns out he's actually an AI, and he starts sending random spam messages at you that make no sense. Then the game throws up false mission failed game over screens just to really fuck with you, and like everything turns out to be a deception. This isn't really what it is, and this stuff. This is ultimately why Metal Gear Solid 4 failed. Hideo Kojima loves fucking with his own plot and characters way too much. And he did it so often in the first three games that when it came to 4, where he was like, right, this is the game that ties up all the loose ends.
There's so many
and
loose
we've got
ends.
a fucking load of them to tie up.
That's reminding me actually of the game Eternal Darkness, the horror game, which pretends it's deleted your save file, pretends to lower and play with the volume on your TV.
Yeah.
It does a ton of shit, and you're like, what
I love
are you
that sort of
doing?
wacky stuff.
I like literally like sometimes you're not sure if it's the game or like something is a bit weird, and you're like, why
That's
is my
reminding me of the
the
legendary...
screen's getting distorted and all this?
Yeah, that's reminding me of the boss fight from Metal Gear Solid 1, Psycho Mantis, where he could read your memory card and read your controller inputs.
I see you've been playing a lot of
Castlevania. Yeah. And then during the fight, you're like, he literally knows everything. Although, it did turn into kind of funny as soon as you just put the controller in port 2, and he was like, oh fuck, now I can't do shit. But, the end of Metal Gear Solid 3 has one of the best endings in video game history. It has the beautiful... It's a very pro wrestling storyline in a way, because the whole game has been about how Naked Snake, who had become Big Boss, just cannot beat his mentor, the boss, who has then defected to the dark side. She's on the enemy side, and she's the final boss fight in the game. And that final fight is like really, like she's like, I didn't want to actually ever fight you like this, but I know how it's going to end. It has this real sadness to it, like it's fought in this field full of white flowers, so it also feels like a war memorial that you're fighting in.
Yeah, wow.
It's really dramatic and really heavy. And then like the bit at the very end where like he lays flowers at her grave and then salutes, that's... I think there's a quote in the lineage that's where Big Boss, who ended up becoming like the big baddie later on, he was like, after I killed my mentor, I was kind of dead after that. That really hit me. That was the feels. So yeah, Metal Gear Solid 3 fucked with me in all the best and worst ways.
Okay, let's have some quick fire question rounds.
Yeah. Quick fire round.
Favorite licensed song in Gran Turismo 4? Feeder, Shatter. Fucking awesome.
Queens of the Stone Age, Go With The Flow.
Excellent. Why in Maxed Out Racing did you get a gold and silver car rather than having a pink and turquoise one? Because we wanted the bling, we wanted the swag.
Yeah, we didn't want to tarnish our channel's colours in that piece of shit game.
To be fair, recently we've been a lot more on the shit side of cars, so we're like, let's have a really, really shittily coloured car today. Rather than going for nice stuff, we're like, let's fuck this car as much as possible. It's just what we've been doing. So
yeah.
Raymeister says, I think the Fat GT4 was the first one and one of the
first games ever to be playable in 1080p. Yes, correct.
That was the first game playable in 1080p. I didn't know. I've learned something.
Technically it was 1080i, but it counts.
It does count. James asked, do we have a tradition when playing sports games with friends such as random teams fill tournaments with shit teams?
Yes!
I think this is the question for you.
Yes! Me and my best friend Lewis have a little tradition we do in football games, especially Pro Evo 6. We call it the Misfit World Cup. Because Lewis is not a huge football fan. I am more into football. I have a football team.
You own a football team?
No, unfortunately I don't.
It just sounded like you might.
Nah, yeah, I actually secretly own Southend Victoria.
Oh, well, that's shit.
Yeah. Hey, we're doing well in the Istimian League 3.
In the who?
Yeah. So, yeah, like, what we do, the Misfit World Cup is basically the 20 worst teams we can find in the game. Not best, the worst. And sometimes it differs tournament to tournament. We literally pick teams based on the banter level. We literally pick teams based on how entertainingly shit we think they are.
Big bands.
And we've been playing this tournament on Pro Evo 6 for the best part of 7 years now. And it's been a great laugh. And we constantly discover new teams. We've started playing it recently in Pro Evo 2019, which has its fair selection of bollocks teams in it. Funnily enough, a team we've ended up liking through Pro Evo 6, Iran. They have won the Misfit World Cup 3 times.
I love a bit of Iran, don't you?
Oh yeah, exactly. Like there's teams in that game we'd never have heard of before, like Real Sociedad. I'm trying to think of who else. Rosenborg BK, this Swedish team.
Am I right in thinking like RKJ Valvik or something? Is it from
Valvik?
Yeah.
Valvik.
I remember them because they were the worst rated team, and I was like, ha, at least I'm not them.
Yeah, exactly. It's that sort of shit, but it's really good fun. I also like doing random team picks where you've seen it in Challenge Belt videos where you have 3 picks for a team. You have 3 random picks. So if you have 1 pick, you can go again, but bearing in mind that loses you. So if you go for that 3rd pick and you end up having something bollocks, then
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, go on. I was going to say, Dan asked if we'd like to see and feed his pets. Now, do you want to guess as to what? I think I might have told you actually.
Yeah, you have.
Shit. Well, tarantulas. He's got tarantulas.
I'm good.
I think we're all right.
I think I'm okay. I got bad enough when one of my friends years ago had a milk snake, and she was like, "Oh, he wants to say hello to you." The thing started circling around my neck, and I was like, "Nope, I'm out." If that's his way of saying hello, I'm not cool with it.
I like that. Shall I bring 1 or 2 round? No.
No, I'm good.
No, don't. Thanks. What was LP saying?
He says basic mechanics of Watch Dogs fucked him up. They can make a mockery of hacking into people's phones. How easy is it in real life? Oh, shit. Yeah, that's fair. That's one of those where you kind of question everything. Jules Verne says, AJ, you can own part of your team. I know. AJ, AFC Wimbledon, owned by their own fans.
Oh.
Proud of that. Very cool. Iran #1, Iron Sheik. So you surely have Excelsior and teams like that in the Pro Evo 6 ones. Yes, I think we've had Excelsior in there before. We have teams like Saudi Arabia in there as well. That's interesting. Real Sociedad are really good in real life, and Rosenborg aren't awful. No, we're talking about Pro Evo 6, which was about 12 years ago. So maybe at the time they were bollocks.
To be fair, I'd heard of Sociedad, so I was like, why were they new to you? But
no, they would just happen to be terrible in that game, apparently. And it's funny, there were some... Le Mans UC72 were a dreadful team in Pro Evo 6, but we had charm with them because it was like Tunisia were the same as well. If you were able to win even 1 game in the tournament with those teams, it was like the best achievement ever. Genuine story, I think it was Tunisia. We struggled so badly to even score 1 goal with them, to the point that when like Lewis was losing 5-1 against me playing as Tunisia, well, losing 5-0, he scored to make it 5-1. And he was so happy, he jumped around, did the t-shirt over his head thing like a football celebration, and jumped and started dry humping his door.
I don't think we needed to know.
No, just for context of just how the tournament... Oh, Cork City are fan owned as well. That's cool.
Nice.
I like that
I think
stuff.
there are a few more of those these days.
A lot of the Bundesliga teams are.
Are they?
Yeah, 51% fan owned. That's very cool.
Nice.
I want that as a series now. What, the Misfit World Cup?
Or us feeding tarantulas.
Either one.
Well, there's one that we might be willing to do and one that we're definitely fucking
See
not.
if you can guess which is which. See if you can guess.
I've just like destroyed all of your high scores here, sorry.
Oh. They were probably your high scores anyway.
No, they weren't.
Oh.
They're
like 12.
It was like 46,000, now it's 308,000, so
Thanks.
I've done that.
Thanks.
See if we can get a high score on the daily grind, shall we?
Which is currently not being held by whatever his face was that held everyone.
No, Raymond Terrific isn't that terrific today.
You make it.
Maybe he just hasn't
Maybe she
played
hasn't
yet.
got in from work yet.
Basically, you can practice as much as you want, but that final run you have to commit. So if you fuck up,
Yeah, that's it.
That's
and
your
I
score.
always fuck up on that last run. Every single time. Oh yeah, IB Leipzig. That is bollocks, that team.
it's not a bad track, though. I quite like that.
Okay. I'm practicing, right?
Current high score is about. It's not that bad.
I think you can go for it, mate. Believe.
Believe. You gotta believe. I'm like Parappa the Rapper.
Is this your actual run, or?
No. I'm just seeing if I can get anywhere near 400,000. That was only a sick landing. Hold on, I want to do a trick before I go. That's it. Oh. One trick. I'm a one-trick pony.
Hey. Boop.
I could probably do two. No, I could only do one. Come on, we gotta get like a world record to end the stream. That'd be great.
Your stream main event.
Well, Nay plays OlliOlli badly and then fucks up when he's trying to get eyes. Sounds good. I better not beat it on a trial run though. It's getting worse. When I was relaxed, I did 200.
Yeah, I've been getting like that.
Do you have any more questions?
Any of you have any more questions?
Now's
you have
the
about
time.
13 minutes to go.
Yeah. Alright, I do 243,000 without even thinking about it. Damn it.
Dang it.
Dang it, Barbie.
Dick doing it.
King of the Hill is great. I really enjoyed the first like 5 seasons. I think it's just fun watching Hank's like conservative views be challenged every time Bobby gets into something. I think that's kind of
Dang it, Bobby.
the world's gotten to the point where everyone can kind of sympathise, but we're like, get with the times, Hank, come on.
Yeah. It's like, we see where you're coming from, but seriously, do you mind?
Right, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna do the daily grind.
Alright, here we go.
Play it for real. Here we go. Don't put epic music on. Oh, it was only a sick landing.
But you did it, though.
I'm 7th in the world, so
Oh, wow.
it ain't that bad.
Either out of 7, or...
No, it's probably out of 8. Someone fell off.
Favourite Simpsons game? Hit and run, surely.
Hit and run, yeah.
Yeah.
Thing is, Road Rage was a poor Crazy Taxi
What was
rip-off,
the... Was
I
it
feel.
Spots that was the one we were just doing?
Spots, yeah. So Road Rage was kind of Crazy Taxi, but worse. Hit and Run was like GTA, but still fine.
And then Simpsons Wrestling was not a wrestling game.
Yeah, that was a problem. If you were a character in King of the Hill, who would you be? So everyone's got their flaws in King of the Hill. Have you seen much King of the Hill?
I have, yeah.
Good. So like Peggy doesn't realise that she's a bit of a prick, but everyone's alright with it, but she can just be a bit self-centered and
Yeah.
And obviously everyone can kind of be like that sometimes, but I feel like recognising that in yourself is a good idea. Hank is obviously a bit too worried about what other people think and
Yep.
a bit conservative with what he feels Bobby should be doing, whereas, you know, Bobby can do anything he wants. Bobby's a good one. I feel like Bobby or Connie are quite safe choices there. But then of the main 4 guys, I think Boomhauer is the obvious choice of who to be, because, you know, goddamn man, I don't ding dang ding dong ding ding man. That sort of thing. I'd like to speak more like that, because then I could get away with all my dictionary fuck ups that I have, vocabulary.
Your Twitch streams would be interesting, though.
They would. Ding dang man, gonna do a
Ding
damn
dong,
Molly, man.
people in the okay. This name lounge.
Gone down a dang kick.
This is got dang ding ritual dang ding dong. Today we're playing dang ding ding dang dang Tendo.
Ding dang Hollywood on a goddamn skateboard, man.
James is insisting we do Misfit World Cup as a series. We'll see about it. We'll find an excuse to do it at some point.
Get Lewis on.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah.
Guests on the Armbar Arcade in 2019. Maybe.
Worst phobias, says Preston.
I used to be quite scared of lightning.
All right.
Reason being, we were in my, I guess it's my living room.
Mm-hmm.
Dining room. It kind of doubles.
Yes.
It was in the dining room where I did my 24-hour album stream, and there's some big windows at the end, and they were open. It was just daytime, and a massive fuck-off lightning bolt hit my neighbour's roof behind me, and it's just a hard image to get out of your head, to be honest. For a few years, I was like, it's a thunderstorm, everyone's going to die. But now I'm fine. I quite enjoy thunder and lightning, so it's good. I've conquered my...
Yeah.
There is a name for it. Brontophobia, I believe.
Is it?
I think it is.
Is that not just a phobia of reading Emily Bronte books?
No, that's Brontephobia.
Oh, hey! Bang. I'm proud of that one. My phobias. I don't know. I have a phobia of being buried alive.
Yeah?
Of just being, like, really crushed. Like, I have a bit of a... I don't think it's straight up a claustrophobia thing, but it might be related to my Asperger's. If I'm in a crowd and being pushed around a lot and getting squished in, I freak out really quickly. Hate that.
I'll try and remember not to bury you alive, then.
Okay, please don't.
It's going to be pretty easy, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say. What else is there? Sometimes I'm scared of the dark. Like, sometimes. It depends on how bad my anxiety is. Most of the time I'm okay. Just like,
I think if it's dark unexpectedly, sometimes it's
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I've been in like electrical switch rooms and it's gone dark and I'm like, there's live shit in here. So
yeah.
You don't, I'm not so much scared as very, very cautious. Because I'm like, don't really want 11 kilovolts through me.
Yeah,
if I can help it.
Goes right through me.
It does, it goes right through me. Here's one for you. Out of the 4 main characters in South Park, who would you be and who would be the other 2 out of people you know? Oh, so who would we be? It's for us. So we got to be 2 characters out of South Park, and people we know have to be the other 2. Fucking hell. I've only seen like 3 episodes of South Park, so...
I have a feeling neither of us are Cartman.
Right, now that's fine. I mean, you do the Cartman voice quite often, so if anyone was going to be Cartman, it'd have to be you, because I can't do the voice.
Man, I think Cartman's really cool. Just the time. But he can also be a real dickbag. When he tries to like murder Jews and shit, that's kind of fucked up.
I guess I could be Kenny if I was going to do the Twitter thing of like, I want to
Dying
die.
every day.
Yeah, so.
Just every time you come over here to record, you like stack it in the bathroom and die. And I'm like, oh, nay.
Oh, they killed me.
For fuck's sake.
Who would other people be though?
Am I Cartman then?
I don't know.
Fuck,
Well,
I've drawn the short straw.
I was trying to do an easy one, just like, I wasn't going to dissect it too much.
I'm not Jewish enough to be Kyle. Although I feel like I have this sort of like short temper and stuff. And outraged. I don't know, I could be Cartman. I don't know. Just for the voice alone a minute. Yeah.
It's interesting. We don't really know. Let's be honest.
We need to ponder this.
Getaway Black Monday stream when? Soonish. I feel like it's a bit too soon after the Getaway stream still. I've got a few plans for the new year that we're going to get into, and then we'll start thinking about things people have suggested. Apocalypse is on the list. Getaway Black Monday is sort of on the list.
Excuse me.
Jason Poland's got to go, so see you later, Jason, if you haven't already. Did we watch Red Bull Gives You Wings Derby? I don't even know what sport this is.
Oh, that's a football game.
Okay.
Between the 2 Red Bull owned.
Salzburg and Leipzig.
Yes, because Red Bull own an Austrian team, Salzburg, and a German team, Leipzig. They're basically 2 like, hey, we're Red Bull and we're going to give this team infinite money to win everything.
Did you watch it though?
No.
Right, well then the answer's no.
Hey. I was just giving you context for what it was.
Nick asked 750 volts DC or 25 kilovolts AC. What would I rather be shocked by? So, I mean, the thing is, where I'm working, obviously, we've got 11 kilovolts, which comes in, and then it's down to 400 volts, and then 240 for normal domestic use. We don't have DC, because direct current is not what it's transmitted as over here. That's only like trains and LED lights take DC. But if you're asking what I'd rather be shocked by, it's AC every time, because you get thrown off. DC will just hold you to the thing until you're burned to death. So you've got a slight chance of surviving 25 kilovolts AC, none of 750. Like, DC will fuck you up, to be honest.
So, pro tip, if you're going to be electrocuted...
Make sure it's AC.
Okay. Or just probably don't be electrocuted.
Also, it's the amps that kill you. The voltage, if there's no ampage flowing, you could easily hold 750 volts. It'd give you a belt. You'd be like, oh, fuck. But...
Is this a bit like that thing where it's like, speeding hasn't killed anyone, suddenly coming to a stop?
Yeah, basically. But obviously, as an electrician, sometimes there is no current running through circuits I'm working on. I've had a belt off 240 before. It wasn't fun, but it was like, oh, shit.
Yo!
Yeah, that's it. You're like, that's live.
Yeah. Oh, it's a bit spicy there. You almost sound like Steve Irwin.
But obviously,
it's a bit angry there.
You're not getting massive internal burns because there's not a lot of amps.
Yeah. NFL games in 2019. The Madden 16 video made my ribcage very unhappy. Yeah, we do want to play more Madden on the channel. I really enjoyed it. As someone who I have an NFL team and I try and keep up where I can. There's a really good NFL show on BBC. It's like their version of Match of the Day, and the host they have for that is so funny and so engaging. So I try and keep up with it through there. The Ravens, they're probably not going to make the Super Bowl, but hey, I'll enjoy it. And I generally try and watch the Super Bowl. It's a good time.
Also got NHL perhaps as a sport.
Yeah, I
think that'd be interesting. I've got a few NHL games. Maybe?
Yeah, I actually played the latest NHL game last year on Jinx TV. They did a little challenge show. It was called Games Room, where I had to play a certain amount of games and do certain challenges in them. And in the NHL one, I was like, you are aware I haven't played an NHL game before? And they were like, well, no, it's not about being good at the game. It's about getting as many blocks as possible. So basically, I was just sort of rugby tackling everyone, which I was like, if this is what hockey's all about, I'm down for this.
We could maybe even look at an NBA game. I've got, I think, NBA 17, which is...
I'll tell you what I want us to play.
16?
NBA Jam, NBA and NBC. For the Dreamcast.
Oh, yes.
Because I remember hiring that as a kid from back when Blockbuster was the thing. You could hire PS1 games. Well, you could hire games of all kinds. And I hired that game on PS1. I had a lot. I've never been a huge basketball fan at all. I feel like that's probably the next sport you're going to get me into after MMA and cricket.
I don't know. I'm not as into it as... I follow the results, but I think it's on at the same time as MMA, and I just can't have two sports that are on at stupid in the morning.
Yeah, true. So one reason I'm glad I don't follow NASCAR anymore. That was a bit of an issue. But, yeah, it's that's a really good game, though. It's 2v2 basketball, and it's really arcadey and a lot of power-ups and stuff. It's great fun.
Any podcasts you recommend? That's a question for you because I don't listen to any, so I can't recommend any podcasts.
Dear Hank and John, the Vlog Brothers, their podcast is really fun. Solomon's The Sounds Off is the wrestling podcast I listen to because he reviews Raw and SmackDown every week. It's very entertaining. He's basically how I keep up with WWE, even though I don't watch it, and he talks about the wrestling as well, and he's generally very entertaining. What else is there? Motorsport 101. No, seriously, you should. Yes, well, it was Jules Verne. Who won't know, our friends over at the Motorsport 101 podcast. They are a great bunch. They talk about F1, IndyCar, all the big motorsport stuff, MotoGP. There's a sister show called Bike Live, which just talks about bike shows. And seriously, they are so much fun to listen to. I'm not sure I'd recommend the Joe Rogan Experience. I mean, if he's talking about MMA,
yeah,
yes.
I think he has
when
a lot
he's
of views.
smoking blunts with Elon Musk, talking about how the alt-right have some fair views, I'm just like, maybe not. So,
I think there's only...
Your mileage may vary.
There's only so much Joe Rogan that you can stand. Like, if he's talking about MMA, I'm like, yeah, you're an expert. If he's talking about other shit, I'm like, you're not an expert,
Joe Rogan goes
Joe.
a long way. Need NBA games. NHL 18's damn fun. Yeah, it's good. Watch the BBC one as well. Love it. Ravens play tonight. Do they? Who are they playing? OC is the man. Yes, Osi Omeniora is fucking hilarious. Like, he says shit that I'm like, the BBC let this go on air? Really? And I'm happy that they do. NFL Street Trilogy are must-plays. Yeah, I think NFL, NHL, and NBA we're going to end up doing those games next year. The Trilogy. Right, yeah, final minute of the stream.
I think that's basically... That's basically AJ's PS4 controller broken.
Thanks.
That's basically a lot of questions, actually. We did well, because we looked before the stream, I was like, we got like 5 questions, and then suddenly it's turned into 400. So thanks to everyone who's asked a question, and thanks to people who haven't, because you're still here.
Yes, yeah. Thank you guys so much, seriously. You've been... Since doing Twitch, we've really got up into it, and like... Matt, Twitch has been so much fun to get into, hasn't it?
It has. It's reinvigorated our channel, I think.
Yes! Yeah. And thank you for making Chatto so vibrant and so energetic. And I think we will do just fine. Dan, I'm not hearing anything. Ravens going to beat the Chargers and go on to the Super Bowl and win again. In my dreams. I mean, look, AFC Wimbledon won a game of football today. Anything's possible, all right? So, if you are new around here, please do hit the follow button up there to be notified when we go live next. Subscribe if you want to. There's a little donate button down there as well. None of that's mandatory at all, but it's if you're feeling particularly generous. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Our schedule is, for the next few weeks, it's a little bit off kilter. On the next 2 Sundays, because I don't want to stream on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, I've got plans for them. On the next 2 Sundays will be Hot Race Car Nights. Tomorrow in the afternoon, I'll be doing the Christmas special marathon stream of Gran Turismo 2, probably the first part of that. Nay, what's your schedule for streams?
Just look out on Twitter for when I'm streaming. I haven't decided yet because it's the Christmas period, but
Yeah, exactly.
there's going to be a special stream. The next one I do is going to be a bootleg game stream. So I've got a little games device from Maplin when that was still around. That's got 200
Knockoff games.
Russian, Japanese, and other country ROM hacks that they decided that they owned and could put on a device. And I'm going to be playing that. So we're going to
Basically, it's the sort of thing Ashen has nightmares about.
We're going to look at all the most interesting games on that. Maybe a bit of Ridge Racer 64 in the new year.
Yes.
And yeah, then we're back on our normal schedule. So.
Yes, which will be Hot Race Car Nights on Mondays, Nay's Retroland on Wednesdays, and then a video on our YouTube channel, every Friday, and the occasional streams on Saturday and Sunday, just whenever. Just follow us on the socials, at Armbar Arcade on Twitter, and on Facebook as well. I think we're done. I think we're good.
I think we're good.
That was a good time. Thank you guys so much. Seriously, have the best Christmas, have the best holiday period. We're off to drink a bit more and probably go get takeaway.
Yeah.
We will see you guys next time in the Armbar Arcade. See you tomorrow for Gran Turismo 2. See you there.